You are going to come under some pressure. You're going to hear all kinds of propaganda. You're going to hear all kinds of lies and deception. There will be tactics used to try and buy you out. There will be tactics used to try and frighten you away. And I only have to say one thing to you tonight, comrades. We are blood and fire comrades, and we're marching on to progress. And we will stand firm. We will not be bought because we are not for sale.
The scale of dealing with anti-corruption issues. So there is a learning curve that we are going through. What is important is that the government supports the development of the institution so it can accelerate very quickly on that learning curve and provide the resources so that they can move very quickly on the learning curve, and that the government does not intervene or interfere. And that message goes to the opposition as well. Leave the anti-corruption and policing agencies to do their jobs.
Yeah.
I know why you come to me with that foolishness, you know. You elect a prime minister, and is a prime minister run the country. It is time we learn to hold our leaders accountable for their actions and stop making excuses for them. Stop making excuses. Otherwise, go elect the people who really run in the country. And I don't want the right start that stupid argument. Hold the people you elect accountable and stop making excuses for them.
Hello, welcome. Happy Tuesday to everyone. Hope everyone is having a wonderful and blessed start to the week. Happy Tuesday to those in television land. Happy Tuesday to our silent supporters. Happy Tuesday to everyone in the chat. Guys, when you come in, register your presence by pressing the thumbs up. And if you're able to, please share us out. That will be greatly appreciated. Tonight's topic is prison term loading with your host, Mystic Sensation, Baron and Anne-Marie. Melting Pot, Pink Skew will be joined shortly by Mr. Rattigan, and also Days the Magazine is going to be joining us as well. I am going to have to give an umbrella welcome to everyone in the chat because already it is gone way beyond a small amount of persons in the chat. So an umbrella welcome to everyone. Special shout out to all our moderators and all our channel members. Without any delay, I am going to hand over to Baron so I can do some housekeeping.
Thank you for that, honey. Thank you for the usual, wonderful precursor there. I want to say big up to all of our listeners, all of our subscribers, locally and in the diaspora, right? My wonderful panel, as usual, right? Spinks and Melting Pot. Well, that we have Melting Pot, for as it relates to the opening batsman, right? I had more bouncers at Melting Pot last week, and right, he put a couple of them clearing the field. So he has not been out as yet. So of course, Melting Pot is here. Rattigan will be joining us later. Likewise, Daisy Magazine, right? She will be joining us later. But before I have the panelists, right, do their usual meet and greet, right, I want to say to Jamaica that tonight we are going to get to the electorate, and particularly those who are undecided. Because what we are going to present tonight is clear evidence, the history, recorded documents, right, as it relates to the Jamaica Labour Party level of evil. I just can't define it, any better than that as it relates to the level of evil that they had done, 100% pure evil. And I want to say to Jamaica as it relates to the evidence that I'm going to present tonight, that in the history of our politics, right, we have, a couple of JLP prime ministers, right, who had done the country no good. But, and I'm going to take Bruce Golding from out of my comment, right, and my criticism tonight, because what befall Bruce Golding is simply something that Bruce Golding inherited while Bruce Golding went into power, and what he had inherited as it relates to the level of criminality that aligned with the Jamaica Labour Party have brought down Bruce Gordon, right? And that is the truth about the matter. And to be fair to him, right, I am not going to knock him or criticize Bruce Gordon. So I'm taking Bruce Gordon out of this. But let me speak here now. The history shows that our future has been robbed by two of Jamaica Labour Party prime ministers, which is Edward Philip George Seaga and Andrew Honest. And what I'm going to show tonight is solid evidence. Let me repeat what I said. Our future, our political future, as it relates to good governance and moving the country forward and build a better nation, being robbed, sabotaged, and maligned by two of the Jamaica Labour Party prime ministers, Edward Philip George Seaga and Andrew Honest. They are 100% pure evil, the teacher and the student. Now, having said that, let me just have Spinks meet and greet as usual, and then Melting Pot, right, will take up the bottom. Spinks.
Yeah, good evening, Lady Anne Marie. Good evening, Sir Byron. Good evening, Melting Pot. Good evening, panel, other panel members coming in later. And I'd like to say good evening to everyone in the chat and everyone who's watching this program right now. And especially a big shout out and good evening to everybody from the parish of St. James. I love my Jamaican people everywhere in the world, but I love my people from St. James even more because you're my neighbors, you're my friends, and you're my family. And
Love.
remember, we have 5 candidates here, and we need your X beside the head. Don't
Yeah.
forget that out.
Good to go, Lady Spinks. Yes, and
Yeah.
as what Lady Spinks said, please, Jamaica, particularly St. James, right? Because that is my constituency as well, right? As it relates to, where I reside. And we are asking, right, for the, Jamaican people, the St. James people, right, to go out and support us as it relates to good governance. We are saying so because the country needs it, simply needs it. And with our, candidates, right, the choice of our candidates as it relates to their capacity, their range, right, their ability to do the job, their competency, right, we have seen high-level competency amongst those candidates who have been selected to represent us. And please, Jamaica, right, do the country good in putting the X beside the head. Without any delay, let me bring in the open batsman, Mr. Melting Pot. Meet and greet.
Greetings, one and all. Happy Tuesday night to you all, wherever you are. Tuning into Mystic Sensation Live. Mystic Sensation bring all type of revelation, and cover all type of corruption. First, I want to big up the lioness in the house tonight, Pink Stew. She's always, a good associate to have on the program, I love how she always big up our people down at St. James there. So I'm going to make sure it done me tonight. I soon big up my people. But I also want to extend a warm appreciation to our host, Sir Byron, alongside his lovely wife, Lady Anne Marie, our technical director, the one who bring all the clips to you so you can enjoy the visual side of things. And most of all, I want to big up my people in the Kingston 13 region and the 11 region, place like Union Garden, Cole Lane, Cookan Lane, Kid Lane, Crescent Road, Oakland Road, Brannerton Avenue, place like Delacree Park. So, comrade, we have to stay strong. They have our best to score, but we are nil them, 63-0, over to the next host.
All right. You have heard the attacker, right, speaking and bigging up his area as well. Now, let us get to the order of the day, right? And without any delay, I am just going to address a situation that we see developing, right? I was sent this letter, and I want to share this letter to Jamaica, right? And I hope that this individual, right, who want to attack us, right, is listening to us. Because again, we are going to show him history and we are going to show him facts. So then without any delay, let me share this information that was sent to Mystic Sensation. And let us bite into that before we get into our things. They are trembling, my Jamaican people. And so then they send their demons, their devils, right, want to stop us in our journey. But unfortunately, we are blood and fire comrades, and we have no fear. So let us tell them that. Now, this statement by Independent Labor Rights, David John, and I hope you tune in, David John, in terms of what we are going to say after your message. This message is direct to the so-called diaspora member, Jeffrey Tavares. You and your followers like to blind people, and it is evident the government of Jamaica is working hard to build a safe society for the citizens of this country. But it seems your people are on a mission to bring chaos and confusion to the general public. But we had a confrontation and it got carried away. You are the ones who started this. Under the Mark Jefferson Golden regime, he's recruiting you people to attack the government of this land. Oh, yeah? And this is how the propaganda spread. And this is the lies that you continue to be telling on the People's National Party. It is a well-known fact that all of you were mentioned is supported by the PNP organization. It is also a well-known fact that your so-called One Jamaica Legal Defense Fund is a PNP orchestrated plot to use the diaspora to exploit money to their organization, which you all support. You people are established individuals in the diaspora, so he's trying to interfere with our government system to try to spread the PNP misinformation campaign. Well, let me tell you something, my friend, right? PNP and social media persons like myself, right, have no such arrangement. And we, right, who are professional people, which my wife is a nurse, right, and I'm a certified investigator, right, and so then we don't need any money from any party at all. We are independent and we love our country and we are defending our country as a true manly act. Let me say that to you.
And we're well-thinking people,
right?
Who can reason.
Exactly. And so then, in terms of our information that we are processing, and what we are going to process tonight, right, we are going to show you facts and evidence of your Jamaica Labour Party destroy Jamaica, right? Yes. Now, it is also a well-known fact that the FBI is involved in this plot. Mark my words, what you people are doing is illegal. The Secretary of State must be informed about you troublemakers and fraudsters. Oh, yeah? You people spread PNP false narrative on crime, right? You can't even spell health. Look how you spell health. Heat. Government. You see, these are the people, these are the persons that we are talking about. Can't even spell health. Heat government. Let me just write. I'm not even going to try to correct it. I put one step. On crime and heat government agencies and the IC. This is your effective tool orchestrated by a PNP organization to bring down the government. It is also a known fact that you so-called people are on the pressure campaign set up to bring down our government by partnership with Congress people telling false stories, yeah, and using the FBI agent Rattigan as their main tool. You, Jeffrey, are involved in this. You donate to this fraud. Recent action proved to be questionable. Main instigator, Wilfred Rattigan, FBI agent, attorney at law. He has started a campaign to illegal, what officer? Destabilize, you know what I say? And him spell destabilize. This is the situation. This is someone who can't even, you understand, organize himself properly to take us on. Right, OPM, by invoking Magnitsky threats, petition threatening to remove visa-free, freeze account, threatening to make authorities, right, arrest, and go. Here you have capital T, right in the middle of a sentence, damn dunce. Threatening to remove him off the Privy Council by so-called links and far beyond. Setting up this so-called website fund to challenge the government and spread their misinformation campaign. Lies about Heath. So that means say, I'm not mistaken, man. I'm not mistaken, make him double down here, so. Him just can't.
Not working on him.
Or maybe the hell is not working. Murder rate statistic lies, oversight lies, IC lies, trying to interfere with our elections, keeping diaspora PNP meeting to plan criminal acts, falsely targeting a senior cabinet minister, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Kamina Johnson Smith and Nestor Morgan. Our Prime Minister told us as Labour right to protest against any falsehoods of the PNP and other organizations. The PNP has gone too far and we will not stop. We will not be exploited and silenced. Yes, I told you, I'm not going to even read anymore because I'm going to be stuck with that. You understand? This is how it does. Right, so why should I really facilitate it? You understand? Piece of crap, piece of dog mess. Right, and remember, now the ordinary dog mess, this has nothing to do with German Shepherd and those pedigree dogs. I real mongrel mess this. All right. Having said that, let us just push that outer door, right? And we are going to get into what I said earlier. And I hope that he's listening. And let me say it out of my mouth clearly, right? That Edward Philip George Seaga is one of the worst prime minister in the history of Jamaica. Right? And his student followed him, right? And create mayhem and catastrophe in the lives of Jamaicans. Tonight, we are going to prove that. And we have the evidence to prove. Pinks, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that letter was written by a student from who went to Action and Basic School.
Oh, awesome.
And everything that he is accusing us of is what the laborers are actually doing towards us, decent citizens of Jamaica. And number two, I would like to remind him that the IC report pointed out the fact that one of the accounts that Andrew has or had was donations from the diaspora. And he took that money and bought stocks and bonds. And the IC report revealed all of that. And Mark Golden never got anything like that revealed from anything. Oh boy, it's hilarious.
It's another GLP desperation. But you know what, things, let us get to the fact that our Jamaican people want to know. And tonight, I said I am speaking to our electorates, particularly those who are undecided. And let me say this. I don't want not even one Jamaican to say, okay, we have it in the bag. We good. Yes, we are going to win. I need every single Jamaican, right? From once you have the requirement to vote, right? Reaching the required age and you have all of your documents, please, I am talking to every single Jamaican. Don't you ever, right, have the preconceived notion that we have taken this. We are fighting for every seat, and we are fighting also for the Tivoli seat. That's how hard we need to fight. All right, let us move on and show you. And Jamaica, let me say this to you. What I am going to show you tonight, right, is to show Jamaica that Andrew Holness' evil has no bottom. Let me repeat that. Andrew Holness' evil has no bottom. It cannot be measured. Andrew Holness is 100% pure evil. Now, I want every Jamaican in terms of what I'm going to play, right? And listen to Andrew Holness, and we are going to show some solid evidence. Now, without any delay on it, let us get to that as it relates to number one. Yeah. All right. Riding good. We are riding good. All right. Let us dig that.
We cannot in any way allow the performance of the government to be devalued in the minds of the people. I find it a curious argument that the party that is responsible for FinSAC, the greatest devastation of Jamaica's economic base, the cause of great poverty in the country. It's a curious position from a party that decimated Jamaica's middle class, Jamaica's skills and talent, where all those people left the country, not just with their skills and talent, but with their resources, that under their watch, murders crossed the 1,000 threshold and have stayed there since. Curious argument for them to want to rehold the office of government purely on the basis that some time has come. There is no commitment, no vision, nothing has been put forward that would demonstrate that they would be able to handle the challenges that we have had as a government better than how we have done it.
Take it away. You know, I'm glad he spoke of that. So tonight we can reach him. Yeah, tonight we can reach him and speak to our electorate. What I want to remind Jamaica of, that one of Edward Philip George Seaga portfolio, when he was a prime minister, he was the Minister of Finance. I want people to remember that. Look where I'm coming from and see where I'm going. And we are going to talk about FinSAC. Remember, 1980, right? Edward Seaga, right, won the election based on propaganda and work of the CIA. People, we want you to remember that. Now, let us bring forward as it relates to Andrew Holness, where he had just spoken about FinSAC based on the clip that we listened to. Right? And what he said, and if you listen to him and you don't know the truth, you would say, oh my God, People's National Party is cruel. Jamaica, let me tell you something, and this is how evil Andrew Holness is and the Jamaica Labour Party. They are the ones, they are the primary conductor as it relates to 1995 financial meltdown. So come here, Andrew Holness. Come here. All your cabinet members, I want you to listen to me. Now, what I'm going to show you, the document as it relates to Andrew Holness during 1995 financial meltdown. You were working with Edward Seaga, Andrew Holness. Am I lying? Yes, man, Mystic Sensation, research you. And we're going to pluck you out of the hole. We're going to pluck you out tonight and show you the demons you are. The 1995, 1990s financial meltdown, particularly 1995 and 96, you were working for Edward Philip George Seaga. And I'm going to show the people the evidence that Edward Seaga is one of the primary conductors that damage our financial sector. Now, let us show the evidence as it relates to Andrew Holness, document Wikipedia, right? Working for Edward Seaga. At the time when he borrowed the money, the billions, 25 million US dollars from Central National Bank, Andrew Holness, you were working for Andrew Holness. You're a wicked bastard. You are evil, sir. And you're coming out telling the Jamaican people that don't support the PNP because it's PNP responsible for the greatest transfer of wealth from the rich, from the poor to the rich. And it is you behind the curtain. Let us show that evidence. All right, before we get into that evidence, make we have the Brother Rattigan meet and greet, and then we get into the evidence that we are going to get into. Brother Rattigan meet and greet.
Yes, blessings, 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 everyone. Melting Pot, big up yourself. Pinks, big up yourself. Lady Anne Marie and Lord Byron, and all of you wonderful people out there who decided to spend tonight with us when you could have been spending it elsewhere. You know why? Because, you know, this is a hot spot. You know, this is where the bangaran takes place on a Tuesday night, right? So, just want to say again, a big welcome to all of the people who join us on the chat, and it's going to be an exciting night. And I'm just going to invite all of you. I'm going to take the liberty quickly to just invite all of you to come to the program this Saturday. This Saturday, you cannot afford to miss it because my favorite minister will be in the spotlight. And not only she will be in the spotlight, but others will be in the spotlight as well, because we are going to break down some things for you. And we're going to show you them people lie like a dog. We're going to show you. And you know how we're going to do it? We're going to make you hear the words coming out of their mouth. And then what we're going to do, we're going to show you the evidence. And believe me when I tell you, people, after this Saturday, you will never be the same again after watching this program. But you won't be the same after watching tonight's program. But then we're going to add on Saturday to it. So happy to be here. Glad to participate.
And remember, Rattigan, you know, you are the gang leader, you know. Them have you as the gang leader. Well, them, you are the gang leader.
You believe them people?
Yeah, you're the gang leader one that wants to take on the government. All right. Right? Of course, that is a time for laughter there. But let us show, you understand, Mr. Andrew Holness, that during the 1995 financial meltdown, working for Seaga, right? Let us show the evidence that you were there, sir. Yes. No. Right? Let us show the evidence that you were working for Edward Seaga. Right? Yeah. And so you understand everything about the 90s financial meltdown. Yes, that's correct. And that is the search that I have done. Edward Seaga employed Andrew Holness in 1995. Holness worked as a special assistant and financial manager for Seaga's premium group of companies after previously working as executive director of the voluntary organization for uplifting children. So Andrew Holness, you would have known about the money that Edward Seaga borrowed, the 25 million US dollars that crippled our country. Yeah, man, we caught it tonight. We caught it tonight. Yes. Here it is, Andrew Holness. Holness worked as special assistant and financial manager for Seaga's premium group of companies. Right? After previously working as executive director of the voluntary organization for uplifting children, right? Take that away. After working for the charity right? So then, of course, you'd have known about the big loot that Edward Seaga robbed, right? Robbed from the country resource under the disguise of a loan being processed. You guys are criminals, 100% criminals. Now, let us go to the WikiLeaks investigation. Yes, let us go to the court document and let us show the evidence to the Jamaican people about Dan Crawford took investors' money, just like how Andrew Holness and you Croskery took investors' money. The same thing you have carried out because Seaga taught you well. Same thing you have carried out. Exercising, right? INSAC 2.0 as it relates to the 90s financial meltdown. This is what you have done with SSN. You have taken the lesson from Edward Seaga. Let us get into the evidence and show the Jamaican people. Let us show this. Cable, WikiLeaks, Kingston 5, 2450. Now, here it is, my Jamaican people. Unclassified document. Unclassified document. Summary 1. Dan Crawford, former head of the failed Central National Bank, has lost his appeal to the Privy Council following a 1999 conviction in the civil court for financial fraud. Let me ask you, who pursued him? Let me ask Jamaica. Who pursued Dan Crawford? Who pursued Dan Crawford is the People's National Party. And Omar Davis pursued him and have him convicted in 1999. Do mix up PNP now no bangarang. Do mix up PNP in the 1995 financial meltdown. He was only trusted to the fact that he sold himself, right, to be this financial expert, right? So let us just, explain what we are reading here, right? So then, here it is, make an appeal and lost the appeal because the evidence was overwhelming, so he did not win the appeal. Now, see, has lost his appeal to the Privy Council following, and remember, I know, the Privy Council, right, is an independent body out of Jamaica, no partiality. They look on the evidence, right, and they weigh the evidence as it is, right, and they make their judgment based on the evidence. So this man took the case after PNP convicted him in 1999, right, claimed to be wrongfully convicted, right, went to the Privy Council, right, and lost the case in Privy Council. So the Privy Council is saying that, okay, the People's National Party has a right to pursue you, and based on the evidence that being collected, the People's National Party have a right, you understand, as it relates to this conviction, right, 1999 conviction in civil court for financial fraud, and has been instructed to repay about US $45 million to the government of Jamaica. Me and you tonight, and Jonas. Although the Director of Public Prosecutions has made a ruling on whether criminal charges will be filed, that ruling has not yet been made public. Crawford, who resides in the US, because that is how you're doing. That is how you people been doing, damaging Jamaica and then run regarding the US. Yeah, that's what all of you been doing. Was once the darling of the Jamaican banking sector. It was often lauded by the government of Jamaica officials for its foray into non-banking areas at a time when investors were shunning the productive sector to benefit from high interest rate regime. However, Crawford banks, which made a number of loans to connected parties, was soon to face a liquidity and solvency crisis and had to seek assistance from the state. Recognizing the extent of the deficit, the authorities took control of the bank and eventually charged Crawford for financial fraud, which is the People's National Party. I want people to understand that information. right? We are reading, right, as it relates to the comprehension that needs to be provided here, right? It is widely believed that his close affiliation with the opposition Jamaica Labour Party. Let us read that. Let us read that over. It is widely believed that his close affiliation with the opposition Jamaica Labour Party, not close affiliation with the People's National Party. You want to get that clear? Andrew Wallace-Moyer come in front of the line tonight. Yeah, you think you can hide behind this? And come out of spin your lie and spin and venom. We are exposing you tonight. Right? It is widely believed that his close affiliation with the opposition Jamaica Labour Party did not help his cause, as no other banker has been charged. Crawford lawyers are in the process of discussing payments, which, if made, would provide a much-needed windfall to the cash-strapped government Jamaica, right? Government of Jamaica, which was the People's National Party at the time. If you're never wrong, Crawford, right? You're in the process of discussing payment. You understand, because you know what you have done. What's wrong? The UK-based Privy Council on October 10 ruled that Dan Crawford and former top executives of failed Central National Bank must pay the government of Jamaica an estimated 45 million US dollars. So people, make it clear. Make it clear. So when Andrew wants to run out and talk about the 90s financial meltdown, PNP pursued the GLP criminals. Here's the evidence. Evidence, right? As it relates to the panel, as it relates to everyone who is sharing this document tonight, here is the evidence. PNP pursue Dan Crawford, right, who align with the Jamaica Labour Party affiliates, right, criminals, and found them culpable in principal and interest for unsecured loans made ahead of the bank collapse in 1996. The Privy Council is expected to announce the final amount to the state when it hands down its written judgment later this month. Well, it never said Jamaican quoted the Privy Council. The Privy Council ruling arose from the appeal of March 1999 decision by Jamaica Chief Justice Lindsay Wolf, in which he berated the actions of Crawford and another top executive, Cable Williams, who he described as rogue bankers. They were busy helping themselves to the bank's funds. When you hear that, people? Crawford, Dan Crawford, and the Jamaica Labour Right affiliates were busy helping themselves with the bank funds, with investors' money. These people are criminals. However, Crawford, who reportedly resides in Atlanta, was once regarded as a model banker, and government of Jamaica functionaries viewed this bank as a blueprint. Crawford was often lauded by the government of Jamaica officials for venturing into non-banking areas such as real estate at a time when investors were shunning productive investment to benefit from the government of Jamaica high interest rate policy. Now, ironically, it was Crawford foray into non-core activities which was partly responsible for the bank demise. People listen. Listen tonight. Out on Crawford and Edward Seaga, the prime conductor for the 90s financial meltdown, people. As a number of unsecured loans, people, were made to connected parties to finance these investments. In particular, the bank made loans to companies owned by Crawford. Now listen, people, the wickedness. His mother and former opposition leader and Prime Minister Edward Philip George Seaga. Let us hold it there. None of these loans went to any PNP Prime Minister. It didn't go to PG. It didn't go to Portia Simpson. Didn't go to Michael Manley.
Who got the loan? Prime Minister Edward Seaga. Prime Minister Edward Seaga. But the cruelty of this, my Jamaican people, that Edward Seaga in 1980, his portfolio was in the Ministry of Finance. And he should know very well, set better examples. But Edward Seaga was outrightly and unapologetically a thief like Andrew Holness. One such loan was made to an affiliated company to construct over 700-room Renaissance hotel. The unsecured loans to connected parties took a toll on the liquidity and solvency of the bank when they could not finance. This prompted the institution to approach the government of Jamaica for assistance in 1996. And this is where FinSAC existed. People take note. The damage is done. Prior to the damage, there was no FinSAC. After the damage done, they approached the government, right? After robbing investors, want now the government of Jamaica to bail them out. Yes. And you know the wickedest thing of this? Andrew Holness, Finance Minister Adley Shaw, was also a part of this paper. Let me tell you now. Adley Shaw was also a part of this, and Adley Shaw was bailed out. Adley Shaw, if you are listening to me, I lie, me I tell? Am I telling you any lie? And you, Adley Shaw, you were a part of this, and yet you know out there sending message out PNP. You understand? Cause the financial meltdown, when indeed the primary conductor is Don Crawford and Andrew Holness, and me I hold back one more name for now until we get to the bottom of the paper. Me I hold on for the name there because I want to show Jamaica the level of wickedness as it relates to Andrew Holness and particularly Seaga. So me I hold on back on the name there until we reach to the end of the document. However, recognize the magnitude of the deficit. The government of Jamaica was forced now to take control of the bank. And this is where you have FinSAC established, people. So when you hear about FinSAC, now this is how FinSAC is now coming in. To do what? Why FinSAC has to come in? FinSAC has to come in to save the banking entity in order for people not to take a run on the bank. It's a financial adjustment company. That is the definition for FinSAC. The financial adjustment company. They had to now come in after Dan Crawford, Edward Seaga, and the one more name that I hold back. Because I hold it back because I want to show people how wicked and cruel Andrew Holness is. The Director of Public Prosecution, DPP, who was called in the probe the activities of the bank, ruled that Crawford, his mother, and top executive were to be charged for financial fraud. People, listen up. If Paula Llewellyn was the DPP, this man would not be charged. You know, hear me, somebody? People, have you heard? If Paula Llewellyn was the DPP, he would not have been charged. Amen, somebody, let us move on. It is widely held that his close affiliation with the Jamaica Labour Party, now listen, people, listen up, did not help his cause as to date. No other banker has been charged despite the failure of other institutions. Some who want to understand the level of gravity that they caused Dan Crawford and Edward Seaga. However, the Privy Council ruling could well provide a precedent for other financial sector players to be charged. This is how we're going to call the other people name now and show you the level of wickedness with Andrew Holness. Remember, he would have been aware about this. He would have been aware about this. Head of the Financial Fraud Unit in the Office of the Director of the Public Prosecution, Carolyn Hay, was hesitant to comment on whether there were other cases pending against other farmer bankers. You know who those other farmer bankers were, people? Those other farmer bankers were Paul Cheng Young and Associates and Hugh Crosskey. Paul Cheng Young and Associates and Hugh Crosskey. So Andrew Holness, in 1995, handling financial business for Edward Seaga, would have very well aware of all of what went down. Not only that, Andrew Holness would have also aware about Paul Cheng Young and Associates. Andrew Holness would have also aware of the bangarang, right, that the Jamaica court pursued them and found Paul Cheng Young guilty. And where Paul Cheng Young swing off several properties to Hugh Crosskey. We have the document we are going to show you tonight. Come here, Andrew Holness. And you would have known that Hugh Crosskey changed Paul Cheng Young and Associates in 2008 and called it SSL. So then Andrew Holness, on 1995, right? You have been running along with these people. And now, in 2008, you and Crosskey agreed to resurface Paul Cheng Young and Associates, now known as SSL, in 2008. Where the name changed in 2008, and you, Andrew Holness, joined SSL. So let me ask you a question, Andrew Holness. If you come out on public blaming the People's National Party for the financial crisis, and that they are wicked, and that they are cruel, and that no one should have fought and share with them because of what they did, wherein, based on evidence here, Andrew Holness, your hands were bloodied. And you know all of that. And you still run along with who? You Crosskey. And we have Mark Crosskey open account for you as it relates to in the Caribbean. Andrew Holness, your level of corruption and wickedness, you have to pay for it. You are not going to. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Don't you ever believe, Andrew, that we only want to win this general election. Andrew, let me tell you something. We are doing our endeavor best to make sure you face the judiciary. Listen to us tonight. You think this is only politics? Answer. Hold on, let me take this card. Let me take this card. Yes, Carla, although I am busy, but let me just spare a minute. Okay. All right. So you good? Yeah, man, all is well. Yeah, man, everything is okay. Yeah. You want to say something on the program because I am on a topic that I want to finish. Okay. All right. Yes. So, as you see that, right? Now, get a little bit distracted there, but we're still online. So, lawyers representing Crawford do not expect any criminal charges to be brought against their client, although he was investigated by the fraud squad following the collapse of the bank. I want to hear that in the people. The lawyer said the next step is for both sides to meet and discuss the final figures to be paid by Crawford, right? If the debt is repaid, it would provide a welcome windfall for the coffers of the government of Jamaica. So we want to show the evidence tonight that the People's National Party pursue the criminals of the 90s financial meltdown. Wish, the truth be told, they were not the only factor, right? But they were one of the primary conductors as it relates to the 90s financial meltdown. Take that away. Let us show a more clearer evidence on where people, right? We're going to ask the panel, right, to break in, right? You know, the panel know how it is here at Mystic Sensation. We have to make sure we present the facts to the people. But let us show, as it relates to the level of wickedness relating to Andrew Holness, and show you what happened now with Paul Chen Young and Associates, and which Andrew Holness is a part of where he now joined SSL in 2008 with Hugh Croskery. Let us flip up that document on it and show that. Century National Bank causes Croskery. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let us get into that. Oh, the other one is not coming up. They're hiding it. Oh, they know some around tonight, so they hide it. I'm gonna block it. Okay, we can go to the other document. Much of them being can block. You know, criminal, you know. Even trying to clean the net. My God. Which government, if this government is truthful, why he wants to suppress information? Now, let us get into the facts here, people. Croskery assures Court of Corporation and Chen Young Properties. The Supreme Court has lifted the injunction against Hugh Croskery in his capacity as trustee of Phoenix Noteholders Trust, the stockbroker has announced in a public statement. People, let us read now. This is the one Andrew Holness is running with. Remember now, Dan Crawford and Edward Seaga, right? Where Dan Crawford loaned Edward Seaga over 21 million US dollars. People, over 21 million US dollars, and Seaga said, you know, I don't remember getting this loan, you know. You don't want wicked and that, people. But this is how they advantage the poor, yeah? Take advantage of the poor. Justice Major Cold Smith had initially placed an injunction on Croskery to May 10th and had given him 14 days to declare the locations of all assets held by him on behalf of Phoenix, whether in his own name or nominees, people. So see the history, see the behavior of SSL. What they do, people, take investors' money, buy properties, you understand, and try to last them in the system so they cannot be tracked. This is the very same thing that Hugh Croskery had done now with SSL. Take investors' money, right? Put it in NCB, where you don't have any tracking system in NCB. Now, what they are, the NCB bank name? Michael Leachin. So Michael Leachin, you understand, seems to be running NCB as what we call a money laundering shop for these criminals. Right? You have several Ponzi schemes who put their money into SSL, into NCB, and those monies, you understand, just went without trace, right? Lost in NCB, just like all the SSL money lost in NCB. You're showing the pattern of behavior with this person. You understand? Here it is now that Justice Marjorie Goldsmith initially placed an injunction on Kleptocratic to May 10, had given him 14 days to declare the locations of all assets held by him on behalf of Phoenix, whether in his own name or nominees. People let us get down into this more to make up to listen to this. Kleptocratic says he has given his undertaking to the court not to dispose of any assets held by the trust without notice or consent. Meanwhile, this court case is going on. Andrew owners know about this, people. Now, the assets were frozen in mid-April on the application of Jamaica Solicitor General Michael Hilton, who was then QC, who had traced ownership of the properties held by Phoenix to Paul Cheng Young. You hear that, people? Former head of the collapsed Eagle Group of companies. The Miami court has since lifted the freeze on Cheng Young, which means he's free to transact business with them in that jurisdiction. Kleptocratic said of his role in the trust that he acted purely in a representative capacity as trustee for a small group of investors who put up the funds to purchase houses. You hear that, people? You hear that, people? This is the evil of how these people manipulate people, manipulate investors, rob them blindly, And this is the same link that Garrett Valls giving that lady the contract who Andrew Wallace put on a point. You understand? As the FSC chief, the Financial Service Commission, And so then everything and every damage that they had done, this woman had reissued the license after the People's National Party clamped down on SSL, people want to remember that, That's why we are cross-referencing to show you the wickedness of Andrew Wallace. Right? Knowing about SSL, you understand, coming out of Paul Cheng Young and Associates. And so then why would Andrew Wallace wanted to give license or re-license SSL, knowing that SSL is Paul Cheng Young and Associates? Come on, people. This man is a vampire. The asset was frozen in mid-April on the application of Jamaica Solicitor General Michael Hilton. Tuesday, who had traced ownership of the properties held by Phoenix to Paul Cheng Young, former head of the collapsed Eagle Group of companies. The Miami court has since lifted the freeze on Cheng Young, which means he's free to transact business. He said it's wrong. Okay, we read that already. All right. Bar. The courts in Jamaica and Florida had barred Cheng Young and Kleptocratic from disposing of the assets on the application of Eagle Merchant Bank and Crown Eagle Life. Two of the Cheng Young former companies commandeered by the Jamaican government at the advent of the financial sector meltdown. You hear that, people? Connecting the dots. We are connecting the dots, people. Kleptocratic has again asserted that the freezing order was not related to the securities brokerage stocks and security limited. You hear that, people? Formerly called Paul Cheng Young and Associates. Here it is. Here is the evidence, people. Kleptocratic has again asserted that the freezing order was not related to his security brokerage stocks and security limited. Let us link them now. Formerly Paul Cheng Young and Associates, of which he is a chairman. Take that away. Conviction. Found them guilty in the public courts of opinion. All evidence tested and proved 100% qualified. Now let us get to our panel. And let us start, of course, with our batsman who has not been out from last week, even after a couple of bouncers pulled to him. Melting Pot. Take it away.
Yeah, game with them guy I play already from in the 1990s, I will see the same game play back again in 2020. 1, 2 coming down the line. You see, when you look on the Jamaica Labour Party and how them operate, them a fraud style, you know. The fraud party with a whole heap of gangsterism-minded people involved. And so them deal with all level of corruption and theft. Because them are not real people, you know. You use one term earlier on as it relates to dog and pedigree. Them have some mangy dog and them a mongrel, you know. Mangy mongrel dog always itch up in the Labour Party. Carry out a whole heap of criminal activity. And them use the same team players, them prime minister and bankers always have at the fore of the society, you know. Farm them Ponzi scheme, yeah. Them little idiot building society, as what them want to call it, commercial bank. Yeah, and then use people from within the electorate party. You understand? And more so the Jamaica Labour Party. And carry out them activity. And then now, what them do? Them offload asset them. I will see the same thing. We see with that's that and offload that, you know. Yeah, and call it a gift. So when we look on this party, how them operate, no way we can see some people are write something and talk about people are corrupt and want to bring down the organization and PMP a pump money in a social media people them and then call name. Jamaica have a problem. And it's time Jamaicans start to recognize that Jamaica have a big problem under this government. A worm that we never know exists. You understand? But you going back further on to 1995 when Andrew Wallace was employed to work for Seaga as a financial manager. I don't know if Andrew know about maths. Oh, so the ups on him, the dunce to begin with. So there and then Andrew learned to the prime blueprint from Seaga. The business side of being a prime minister, Andrew learned it from Edward Seaga. The stealing of money, Andrew learned it from a blueprint where Edward Seaga put in place and leave for the Jamaica Labour Party. Them enrich themselves out of taxpayers. This is why when him get the 21 million, him say him no remember nothing. Who give it to him? Dan Crawford. Who Dan Crawford linked to? The criminal, Paul Chen Young, Hugh Croskery. Then we not see about the same game I play. So we have to go down upon them like a ton of brick this time, because them years hard, you know. Yeah. PMP did set up FinSac to regulate these type of business activity. Me hear some people have said a PMP did carry out the meltdown. No, PMP they don't go fix the problem. And them garbage are come back and create a worse problem. So PMP have to fix it again on a market G. Yeah, and no guy can't hide none of the asset them this time. Because remember we have social media now, you know. Can't track them myself, you know. Yeah, we know where you have to sell and all them things there, you know. Yeah, man, we know which body you have them sell all the time. We know we say a building give away as a gift. A building will value millions give away as a gift, but that building is subjected to investigation, ongoing investigation. So that building is supposed to give away. So when we look at we see Vaz now, yeah, when we see Vaz a continuing type of corruption, with everything you see near mix up, yeah, you see Andrew near mix up, you see Michael Leach near mix up, and the list goes on and on. At the core of corruption where the blueprint where Seaga leave them for work off. Them just change a few little names tonight. but the model remain the same. So Andrew have to get a long time life sentence. You can't get Andrew no little small thing. The crime of Andrew Wallace commit a life sentence him forget. The crime of 50 I don't know. Yeah. Some might already just call it a life sentence. Because I wouldn't get Andrew not less than 50 years, you know. On top of him age, you know. Some might already just term it as life sentence. This guy is dangerous. Very dangerous. And people need to understand, say, we have to talk about the Labour Party run by Andrew Wallace. Because that's where the problem is in Jamaica for the past 10 years. Andrew Wallace and the Labour Party has created mayhem, drugs, gun trafficking, money laundering, scamming, and them that. And all them type of garbage, like when me hear, I come from them mouth. Andrew confused in a way that him say him a run that campaign pan discipline as him slogan. I see as him talk. What happen? Warmington come out and cuss bad Warmington. Time cannot. Because Warmington them have him secret, you know. This is why Andrew can't go after nobody in our party. Because every one of them knows that Andrew orchestrate the criminal, the high level of criminal activity in Jamaica. Andrew, and them are the gang member, you know. Andrew are the gang leader. So you see, when you see Queenie come out and go on anyway, Andrew can't discipline him. Because the Jamaica Labour Party is a serial indisciplined party. A long time. You are talking about over 50 years. What I made from Jamaica society, the Labour Party unleashed. So we have to hold them accountable. Guy called Lizard now. Film case you know. Where Andrew drying. Look how Andrew barefaced. Andrew knows say prison door just around the corner from film, you know. Yeah. And put him a feed to see what him can do for him. Because all him that they are doing, you know, is oversight the documents, you know, and report back to Andrew, you know. Andrew just have him there just to relay back to him what in the documents report, you know. So he can have a clue and idea as to what to say. But Andrew that can't help you, know. Because your thing was so blatant and barefaced that the entire world system, well, then you're guilty. That's why you move a man without the experience in an investigation line of experience you have. We know about everything where you're going with. Yeah? So you just dry him up now and put him there. So we are look and I show the people them say, this is how the Labour Party operate. And when them see decent people like we on the platform come out and move towards the real issue in Jamaica, you have some garbage. You have some garbage you can't write, you know. Them can't spell. Them are garbage, all dunce, them there. Them there are some of Andrew Wallace sperm whale. Them are the minions, them are Andrew. Them are the troll where Andrew pay. We as taxpayers money I pay them to write letter. I run out. We don't go one side, man. Because now the leader guilty as a damn ban, a thief that, and the criminalist prime minister of the world has ever seen. The man bleed a little developed country. Eh? A developing country, the man bleed, you know. Mash up the place, take everything from the people, and the people them impoverished right now. Can't buy food, can't do nothing but some little idiot people still around behind this party. Yeah. I don't know what them seeing at the party, you know. I know sensible people run behind a criminal train. You understand? Criminal train will cause problem down the line. It must be real. So I would want a whole on a criminal train with a criminal prime minister with the entire world know about. Yeah? We need to face the justice. The man statutory declaration for 4 years going cannot be certified. What can go so? The man have a couple of other members in his cabinet where for them one can't certify either. The man put gag order All type of Nancy thing Andrew come with, you know. The man no sign the code of conduct, you know, but them take the training. So them a laugh after the IC. Now at the time for the IC laugh. Them say, who laugh last, laugh the best. And I yield back the floor to another member of the panel.
What a powerful impact. You know, Brother Rattigan, we are going to sandwich the lady tonight, you know, because we left you because we know we know you're going to melt down the situation too, you know, Brother Rattigan. So let us sandwich the lady. Sister Pinks, take it away.
Yeah. Okay, my points are this, right? I am talking to the undecided voter,
Definitely.
whether you're an informed voter or an uneducated voter, I am talking to you. Because you see, Andrew Holness and his administration, they want to keep us uninformed and uneducated,
True.
to be like sheep to vote for them. My other point is this: the Lebanese American Edward Seaga came to Jamaica and adopted Andrew Holness as his son. And both of them remind me of Papa Doc and Baby Doc. Everything that Andrew is doing is what his father, Edward Seaga, planned and designed out for him to continue. Like an architect sat down and designed a full blueprint for the next generation person like Andrew to carry out for him. When it comes to, let us go back a bit in history. When Edward Seaga was campaigning for that election in 1980, that the one that he won, during his campaign, he got donations from people like Don Crawford and
Yes.
Paul Chen Young and the
Correct.
other friends who helped his campaign. They were given financial licenses to open their financial institutions, and yet none of them had the international qualifications. So again, we see the same thing being played out with Dennis Chong. He doesn't have the requirement or the qualification to hold that position, yet he's given that position. The same thing that Seaga did back then, when
Yes.
after he won the election, he gave these people, Don Crawford and Paul Chen Young, financial licenses to open these financial institutions, and they did not meet the international requirement.
So true.
So therefore, you cannot blame the PNP for what they have done to us. We live in the information age. Information is at your fingertips. Everybody who can read and write, and nowadays we've gone so far where you can actually talk into Google and Google talk back to you and
Yes.
relay the information to you. So even if you cannot read and write, figure it out for yourself. Go and check out every information from this platform. We are not the liars here. Andrew Owens is a narcissist, and what he's doing is blaming us for the problems that him himself sat down and helped create.
This one.
How can somebody be in Seaga's son and is confident in his business from 1995, and he knows how much money he borrowed from Don Crawford's bank? He knows what Paul Chen Young did. He knows that Don Crawford was brought before the court. He knows all of this and then come to us and lying to our faces about it every day and blaming us for FinTech when FinTech was the solution. They created the cancer, the financial cancer. They created the financial cancer, and we created the treatment for the financial cancer that they created. And we must stop being polite about calling these financial institutions that they put up as Ponzi scheme. That name is too good for them. It's railway shop them set up like a vendor market. You understand me? It's worse than a Ponzi scheme because all these fancy offices and fancy real estate that they have, they put these buildings on and let people walk in and have the illusion of a financial institution that they plan to invest people's money in, knowing full ahead that it's a Ponzi scheme, rare market, vendor market attitude from Paul Chen Young, Edward Seaga, Andrew Holness, all of them.
All of them.
They're not better than anybody at the roadside selling and hawking goods off a you call it a hand cart. They are no better than the hand cart vendors. Hawking your goods, hawking stocks and bonds, but it doesn't exist. You know what they always do? They're worse than some vendors who actually sell you a bag juice and advertise Pepsi. Because at least the bag juice can quench your thirst. Most of these people did not get back anything after they made the investments. Not even a bag juice. And let me tell you something. The author for that letter that you read, all I can say, I wish him well in the future because I don't know which Jamaica I'm living. Because it must be a fantasy world he lives in. Because his letter does not reflect the truth of what is happening on the ground in 2025 right now in Jamaica. The reality is this week, the medical staff, the people who do the blood tests at Cornwall Regional Hospital came out with placards and demonstrated and protested for over 3 years. They have not been given any uniform allowances.
Oh my God.
Imagine you're working for the government and you're entitled to uniforms and you are not being paid by the government the money that they're supposed to give you to buy your uniform to go to work. And then Dr. Free came out and said, and I heard it before, from a friend of mine who works here, if you're going to get a blood test at Cornwall Regional Hospital, it cannot be done there. It has been done privately outside from a private institution. And when we talk about these things, they say we are lying. You have to pay for the needle, you have to pay for the equipment, you have to pay for every striking thing to get a blood test done. Nothing is for free. A lady came out a couple of days ago and talked about anatomy hospital. Her leg was broken, and week after week, excuse after excuse to get the surgery on her broken leg to be straightened and fixed. She bought the equipment. You have to buy the equipment that they're going to use to fix her leg. She had to buy the equipment and they used it on somebody else's operation. And they did not get to replace hers. And the next following week, theater don't have any AC. When it's another week, it's another excuse. And the lady's leg is hurting her for weeks and weeks. Can you imagine you have a broken leg and it's not being fixed for weeks? How much pain the person is in? And your body needs to recover. No, man, Jamaica. No, this is not the Jamaica. And then even the 24 babies that died last month, some of the mothers are talking about it right now. The hurt they're going through. Softly, word is coming to us what these mothers endured. And you see Dr. Dawes talking about how simple equipment, mobile x-rays, most of the machines right now using theaters, most of the machines I know, they have the mobile versions for them. As small as a briefcase. These machines are here. These machines are out there that can be bought by the government, but this government does not care about us. He wants us uneducated, uninformed, and dead because one of his best friends have a murder and they have to make money off us, dead or alive, and they don't care about us. So when we come out here and we speak every week, we are talking about what we are enduring, what our friends and our neighbors are enduring. All of Jamaica right now is under one separation right now. No waters in our pipe because their friends own water trucks. Their family members own water trucks. The hotels have water. And this Englishman, Matthew Samuda, is in charge of our water. And you're talking about Andrew being going up for third term? Not happening. Not happening. Not happening. So when Action Hand going to talk about how Mark Golden will never be Prime Minister, please go one side. Because you can't even read a sentence, even if it's written down for you. You understand me? Go one side with your stupidness. You cannot even compare yourself to a man who is a graduate of Oxford University. Mark Golden has never been caught up in any scandal. Look at him. His history, his business history. As a lawyer, no client has ever complained about him. As a banker, none of the account holders have ever made a complaint about his bank. And the only thing they try to do and tarnish his reputation is about his race, parents, and where he was born. They have nothing else to try against our Margolin. Nothing. He's clean, he's wholesome, no scandal. No woman can call any radio station and call his name or assume nothing. And he has all his children with one woman. One woman. That we know of. You understand me? And his wife is quite happy. And they sleep in the same bed, under the same roof. So, Jamaica, think about who you are voting for in the next couple of weeks.
All right.
Think about it.
All right. Thank you, Things, for such wonderful input. Power punch. And now we touch down to Brother Ratigan, the leader, the gang leader. You know, you got him, the gang leader. You know,
Mobster boss.
the mobster boss. Take it over, mobster boss.
Again, good night. I don't know what's wrong with these people, you know. I don't know what these thing them. This is what happens when you're idle and you can't think. You come up with a whole bunch of nonsense. But be that as it may, you were things just talk about the water situation. And every time I think about that lady who said, show a labor right, you know, when the truck come with the water and gear one drum. I have to laugh because people just go back and look at the promises made about water in 2016 and 2020. It's not been done. The promises made have not been fulfilled. So, but that's all I want to say upon that. So anybody want to talk about water, just remember say them will bring water through pipes from the north coast to the south coast. And just ask yourself, when did that happen? Just remember so them tell us them are gonna have them tell us, oh no, just remember so them tell us them have desalination plants in Moses Lake. I didn't know which part that there. And them will build desalination plants along the coastline. Just ask them when did that take place? And the list goes on and on and on and on. But here is the crux of the matter. Andrew Holness came into power with a lot of fanfare and a lot of hope. People are saying, yeah, all right, the PNP run for 18 years. Give him a chance, you know, make me see where him can do. And him sound like, you know, him sound like him had the country's interest at heart. But here's the thing. Andrew Holness became lucky. Lucky in the sense that he was not the person groomed by Edward Seaga. I know the person that was groomed by Edward Seaga. And there was a falling out. And Andrew just slipped right into that position. Had it not been for that falling out, that person would have been sitting where Andrew is. But when you look at Andrew and you look at his background and you look at the hope and the aspirations of the people, and you start thinking, okay, this man going to bring prosperity. That's what he said. He's going to bring prosperity to the country. And you look from 2016 till now, and all you can see, people, is poverty and more poverty. No prosperity in sight. I've asked on many occasions, how many families, how many people moved from the poor class to the middle class from 2016? And I can't get an answer right now. And when I ask how many people moved from the middle class to the poor class, we get a whole heap of people answer. Answer, me have relatives, be it dead and move, yeah, you know. Then no progress. No progress. The man is a hypocrite. The man is a liar. The man is a snake oil salesman. And all I'm asking you to the people is think about this election as a referendum on performance, not on promises. You get promises 2 times already. You get it in 2016 and you got it again in 2020. Don't make them tell you, and you know them a come with a manifesto, you know, I know them a tremble because them know me a wait for it for coming up. Them know me a wait for it for come. Me can't wait for it come off of the press because I'm very well versed in the last 2. And them know me a go look on this one and watch. I probably think that they probably put out like 2 days before the election because them know want me see it. Them know want me see it. And here's what happened today. And that's why I insist, people, I keep telling you, file your ATIs. No matter what amount. And if you file your ATIs right, you will get an answer. There's a section that says that if the information is confidential, then the providing agency, ministry, or department, all they have to do is redact the confidential section, but them still have to give you things. But people don't know this. People just think them just come and say it's confidential, we can't give you. No, they can give you. And depending on who do the redaction, you might be able to figure out what when them actually redact. But here's what happened today. I was talking to some folks, producer Joan, me know you watch, and we're talking about things that happened last week in the Senate. And I was doing some research today, and I came across some outstanding information. While I was there talking to them, I checked my email and I got a response from the parliament today. And people, we are talking about the Integrity Commission. Here's what the parliament sent me today. They sent me the Hansard proceedings. The Hansard proceedings. And think about this if you haven't thought about this, people. Every bill in parliament is discussed and is voted on. And then it's sent over to the Attorney General's office and is reviewed for constitutional sufficiency and is sent to the Governor General for his assent. And then it becomes law. It's not law when it's in Parliament, it's a bill. But when they're discussing the bill, guess what? There's a transcript of all of the conversations. And I have the conversation with the Prime Minister talk about the Integrity Commission Act. And when I show you Saturday what this man said about it, and when I show you what him do about it, you're going to see the hypocrisy at a level that you've never seen before. The things that Marlene Malahoo Ford, the things that Minister Chuck, the things that Mr. Warmington, all of these people were commenting on it. And when you look to see what they're trying to do with the Auditor General, you're going to be surprised. Well, you won't be surprised now because I've let the cat out of the bag. I've told you about that. And Mr. Dennis Strong, last week we did our program. I told you there are 3 options. 3 options. One is he's going to make a decision and say there's no evidence here. Two, he's going to report to the minister of finance, and she's going to report to the prime minister. Three, he can take it to the DPP, and she can say there's no case here. Now, if I were a betting man, I'd say that's what he's going to do. He's going to take it to the DPP because she's leaving in September, and she can just throw out the case, and that's the end of that. And some people were saying to me, no, you tell them things, and I said to them, say, people, all me teaching upon a Saturday for the critical thinking, and you still not understand. You think, say, them don't know this? You think, say, them don't know about the Financial Investigation Act, Financial Investigation Division Act? You think them don't know about it? You think them don't know about the various options them have? No, no. And I'm me tell Uno, because what happened is that this case I will suddenly die on the vine. I will not hear anything because all them have to do is just get to the DPP and make sure there's no case here, and that's the end of that. So that's why I'm telling us no need for go out and keep the pressure on. No need to keep the pressure on. I noticed the opposition.
Right. Give me a minute there, because like I said this, I want to speak something in the ear, and I hope that the Integrity Commission investigators are listening. If that is the trajectory that they are on, I am telling the Integrity Commission investigators now that if they have any future, if they have any investigation pending, particularly where Juliet Owness is concerned, and could use that investigation to tie back Andrew Owness, don't push it out now. Hold on it until the DPP left office. So then if the DPP dash with this case here, the People's National Party is going to rise the one with Juliet Owness. I hope the Integrity Commission investigators are listening to my advice. You understand? Whatever investigation that they have, that they are looking on, don't put it out. Keep it. And I've been saying something like this from the longest while now, because I suspect that this is where they are going. So let me say this in the ear. Integrity Commission investigators, whatever investigation you have, lock it down. Don't push it out. So that the People's National Party can ride on that and wheel them back in to the circle of investigation. We are no fools here. So go ahead, Ratty.
You know, Wilbert Cameron put something in the chat, and I'm right. When Marky G come out and Mark Wallen said, when the right, he must sing the Diamond song. When the right time comes, someone will charge with corruption. Oh yes, that got them scared. Him telegraphed the move, and that right after that, if you notice, them say, all right, you know what? Dennis Strong is the man. But here's what happened. We just go to three options, at least three options with them up. We have two options. And here, as a people, we have two options. The first one is this. The Integrity Commission, if them really want to do them work, them can just say, you know what? We're taking back this investigation. We're taking it back. And what we're going to do what the Pantan didn't do, which is under the Integrity Commission Act, they could have gone to court ex parte by themselves without notifying the Prime Minister and his attorneys and say, listen, Judge, this man is not cooperating, and we believe there is evidence of illicit enrichment that we would like to get our hands on to complete our investigation. That would have forced the Prime Minister, right? Once him hear about it, if you oppose it and just think about the optics of that, yes. Where this, wait a minute, the Prime Minister oppose this thing and him have evidence for the man them need for complete them investigation and him no want to give them. That is one where them could have do, because now you have a slightly different composition of the commissioners right now, and the Auditor General is still there. Pamela Monrealis is still there. So if them really serious, them can pull it back. I don't see anything which say that them can't pull it back. Just pull it back. The second thing is this. We have the biggest leech in the history of Jamaica, Sir Patrick Allen. We need, you see him start talk now. Him are the man who can stop this, you know. Yeah. He can't, because remember, with the Integrity Commission, all them can do with the Integrity Commission is just pass an amendment in Parliament. It's still I forgot to him for him sign off on the amendment. Him can't take a step and stand and say, listen, we're not going to sign this. Now, you see what happened? I went back and did some research. And in recent memory, it's the first time this Governor General has spoken about any law. First time in a vacuum. When I say in a vacuum, normally him talk about stuff at the throne speech when he open up Parliament. But for come out and my man sick, the man can't hardly move. Just have back surgery that day. And him come out and say that him find something wrong with the administration of the Integrity Commission, the way it's done at Greg Christie's level, the executive director, and the way it's done at the commissioners level. Is all foolishness. It's all foolishness. But him come out and say that him have a problem with it. And I sit down and I read it and I look and I say to myself, but hold on a second, sir. You never have no problem when you sign off on it in 2017. So how come all of a sudden now you have a problem with it? But people, what we need to do is we need to start the protest. And that is one of the things that I find sorely lacking in Jamaica. I don't know if we have lost the will, but I truly believe Marcus Garvey are turning on grave. I truly believe Nani and Paul Bogle, all them people are turning on them grave when them look and see how pathetic we are, in the sense that there are things that we can do legally and we are not doing them, and we are suffering. It's not like say we're not suffering now. We are suffer, but we have to lose. Them need to go out there and them need to make people know what's going on, because there is strength in numbers and there is more of we than them. And I just don't understand. I saw the opposition, like I said, them protest Dennis Strong the first week, them protest the second week, and I was looking for the protest the third week, and I was looking for the protest the fourth week. I'm gonna see nothing. And I'm saying, listen, all you have to do the protest, because Jamaica is the gift that keeps on giving. Jamaica is content rich. So every week you're gonna have a scandal. You can add that scandal to the Dennis Strong scandal. Just add it to it. I mean, I said, just keep the pressure, keep the pressure, keep the pressure, keep the pressure. No pressure. I don't see it. Not that them not going around and them talk up the things and them have the meetings and things like that, but you cannot make something like this get away, because you can't make the man. We cannot make this man get away mistake.
Exactly.
We can't make him get away. The man commit too much. Him commit too much, man. Him cross the line long time. We cannot make him get away. And you see, well, we are the Wallica piece, you know. We are the Wallica piece and say, sign the Magnitsky petition. And apparently, them a watch and it a get under them skin. What we do that, we go to Jamaica and we say, all right, we want our people to learn about civics. And we say, we don't care what party you associate with. We want to understand how laws are made, the rules and the responsibilities, so that you can become an active participant in your government. You can become an active participant. Another thing is this. On my soapbox tonight. Another thing is this. I was having another conversation with a different person today, and I was saying to the person that, listen, what Jamaica Jamaica needs more active community leaders and more active communities. Because here's the thing. As a people, we need to tell the politicians that here is a list of our priorities for our community. Instead, it's the other way around. The politician dictate what the priorities will be. The government dictates what the priority will be. And you say, but wait a minute, who vote on the in? Are we vote on the in? And if we have an issue in our community, the community is supposed to go to the politician and say, listen, here is a list of our priorities. And if you want our vote, we'll know. And you sound good, fine, we'll do it. But guess what happened now? You have to come and have community meetings with us every 4 to 6 months and tell us what you've done, what you're doing, what you plan to do, what you did not do, and what is the plan to accomplish what you did not do. We have to get involved, because if we don't get involved, it's business as usual. And we can talk till we're blue in the face until the people start understand and start take the appropriate action. And the appropriate action, I'm not talking about anything illegal. Let me just make that absolutely clear. Nothing illegal. Take the appropriate action. Pay attention to what's going on in your country. And be the best citizen you can be. I'll give you another example before I come off of the soapbox. Last Friday, Ask how many Jamaicans pay attention to what took place in the Senate last Friday. If you ask them don't know. Them don't know. And here it is, media foreign. And me go back and look and me see everything what go on. And me see all of the lies what them are telling inside there. And all them lies that compel me this week to say, no, me can't make them things that go unchecked. Me can't make them things that go unchecked. And so this Saturday, me I go deal with it because Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith stood up in the Senate last Friday and she tell a pack of lies. Don't tell some lies. Me say, I couldn't believe it. In addition to which, she kick off with Peter Bunting. Because I think when she did the attack nonsense, Peter must get frustrated and tell her must sit down, and she start tell him, say, you know, who are you? You're rude and you're out of order, and she start classing my way, you know. But again, people will have to take an interest in our government. You have to take an interest. You can't just leave it to a pinks, a melting pot, a ratigan, a mystic. You have to take an interest. You are the one that suffer. You have to take an interest. Sonia say, yeah, especially about the fertilizer. Watch me on her this Saturday, man. Watch me on her this Saturday. But if you don't remember, I know people from 2022, I raised the fertilizer issue, you know. 2022. And up to now, that fertilizer issue still hang over our head because when it was Lambert Brown, they might talk about the Predial Larceny Act and how they might amend it. And them say, well, you know, it's comparable to what happened with the fertilizer and how there was corruption involved. And it get under her skin. And she get up because she's in charge of government business now, the Senate, and she start raise keen about it and things like that. But we are going to deal with her. We're going to deal with that. Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith, if you are watch, or if your minions are watch, or your family or friend, tune in Saturday because you are going to see some things. You are going to see some things. And Jamaicans, let me tell you one thing. This government is a sellout government. I'm going to have the evidence for sure that the relationship with Venezuela, mash up.
Oh, yes.
One with Cuba, they saw it still so. Right? And the relationship that we have with Morocco, we have it because we sell out the people of the Western Sahara. I'm going to go into the history this Saturday. We sell out the people. It was Michael Manley who recognized the people of the Western Sahara. I think it was 1978, I believe. 1978. Yeah, 78. Recognized them. And since because the people must fight for autonomy from Morocco. They must fight for autonomy from Mauritania and Morocco and some other place. And them say, no, we are going to support you now. And after Michael Manley, Edward Seaga supported them. P.J. Patterson supported them. Portia Simpson supported them. The Prime Minister, Bruce Golding, he supported them. This JLP party couldn't wait for win the election in 2016. Them did in 2016. Them names make it breeze off a little bit. Them they are Morocco in 2016 and sign an agreement and said, dear what? We no recognize you know. We no longer recognize. Hear them say, we are taking a neutral stance, but we no recognize you know. And guess what happened? Morocco said, thank you very much. Send the fertilizer, yeah. And give them the fertilizer. As soon as we get the fertilizer, we give the people of the Western Sahara. We don't support them no longer. That's how the fertilizer story go. And then when she come and I say in the Senate Friday, I said, oh, we got fertilizer when nobody else could have gotten it because of COVID and all of that stuff. She must tell the people them the truth because you know what happened? The fertilizer was delayed. She make it seem like it's COVID, and then because COVID, I think them give it the first. No, she herself reported that the fertilizer came late, but we're thankful. The fertilizer was supposed to come shortly after them done sell out the people. And then when COVID come and think the first fertilizer, in fact, them tell so much lie because the first fertilizer shipment came to Jamaica in 2019. Second one was 2022. and the third one was 2023. Yet in 2022, we have Pernell Charles Jr. saying, "We want to thank the people of Morocco because this is the third shipment."
Yes.
Say, how it be the third shipment? The third shipment that come 1 year from now. How you get that? One coming at 2019, one coming at 2022. You have thank the people for the one at 2022, and you say, "I want to thank you for the third shipment." The third shipment. This is the third shipment. No, something go. Like there's one shipment where me can't account for. No, there's one shipment where me can't account for. And me say, and she go tell lie again about she said the fertilizer went directly to the farmers. That's the word she used. She said it went directly. And me sit down and me said twice, no, directly. You mean, let me see if I understand what you mean. You mean it went directly from RADA? You mean it went directly from the politicians? You mean it went directly from private persons? You mean it went directly from private businesses? You mean it went directly to the Orange River Research Facility? You mean it went directly when they want to dash it where? Some of them have said the fertilizer spoil. You believe that? Fertilizer spoil. That them actually said that. So, I mean, this lady, oh man, I mean, but you know what? I'm thankful for the magic of technology because I have the tape and I'm going to play the tape. And all of you who don't see the tape yet, I'm going to go watch it in preparation for Saturday. I'm going to go watch it and see how people can tell lie unnecessarily because them things say nobody now watch and them can do whatever they want and say whatever they want to say. And, you know, it's all about them. So, there's so much mystic. Me I tell you, this government. Like I said, me not tell you who for vote for now. Oh no know who for vote for. Oh no. Me no have to if me have to tell you them something wrong. If me have to tell you say who for vote for something wrong. Una watch a program here every Tuesday night. Una watch me every Wednesday night. Pinks have something now go on. Melting pot have something now go on. No watch me every Saturday. And if you don't understand who you for vote for, I now wait for me telling you for vote for. No, man. No. Thank you, yourself.
Exactly. Solid punch. Right. And I want to say at this time, thanks to Pinks putting solid punch, melting pot, solid punch, and Brother Rattigan, solid punch. Right. All three panelists, right, are blazing tonight. Now we are going to move to our next folder. And we want to, before I present the next folder, because we are going to go into a deeper dive into the viciousness of the Jamaica Labour Party. So where I'm going to speak about the education system. That where you have a government, right, that government particularly attacking the education system, right, then something is fundamentally wrong. Right? Something is fundamentally wrong. The backbone of any developing country has to rely on the strength of its education system. And if you see a country, if you see a government who wants to weaken that education system, then something is fundamentally wrong. Now let us flashback as it relates to, and the reason why I'm saying this, because sometimes when you are speaking to some people, right, they tend to say that, okay, all right, I am not going to make a particular move because both parties are one of a kind and so forth and so forth. And with that argument, right, I have a real serious problem. So what I'm going to show you is to show you the love of the People's National Party through the process of democratic socialism, and where Michael Manley and all other, right, leaders from the People's National Party, right, trending on the same line or all parallelity with the same political philosophy relating to democratic socialism, right? So then when you look, you will see that the People's National Party endeavors at all times to strengthen our education system. And you are going to see, right, on the other hand, making the comparison, right, the Jamaica Labour Party is trying their best, right, to damage our education system. Facts to prove. The solid facts that I'm going to use is to show you how much of the Jamaica Labour Party members of parliament attack our education system by pilfering from the ministry, right? To damage to all the ministry in short resources, right? As a result of robbing millions of dollars from the ministry. And where the People's National Party, right, always pursue them to have them put into the judiciary, right, and process accordingly. Now, so let us make a reflection, right, as it relates to Jamaica Observer, flashback to Michael Manley free education system. Now, let us pivot now to the man who strengthened democratic socialism, Michael Manley, right, and the fundamental situation as it relates to Michael Manley needs to build a society, right, on its strong educational background. And so then, this is what Michael Manley had done. Here it is. A flashback to Michael Manley's free education system. Now, let us look at this now, people. Education is often seen as the great equalizer in which people from low-income families can enter career fields that would have otherwise been impossible, and that including Andrew Holness, that including, right, Juliet Holness, that including, right, all those persons who had gone through the system, university, where Michael Manley fights for free education up to university. People who have benefited, right? So this goes to the backdrop of all those people who have benefited from the source of democratic socialism as it relates to Michael Manley. Now, let's read. For thousands of Jamaica on May 2nd, 1973, when the country's fourth Prime Minister, Michael Manley, introduced the Free Education Initiative. This was a ticket many financially challenged people were waiting for to create a better life for themselves and their families. People, put that in your back of your brain. The program included free secondary education in all grant-aided secondary schools and free education for qualified Jamaicans to enter a tertiary institution. This is what Michael Manley had created. This is the policy position of Michael Manley. Had created it and executed it. One such person, medical practitioner and consultant surgeon Dr. Ray Fraser, told the Jamaica Observer that he is forever grateful for the opportunity to attend the University of West Indies under Manley's initiative. In those days, my mother couldn't afford it at all. Two of us went to university at the time. She was a single mother. My father died years before. So free education came in for us, for many Jamaicans, at the most appropriate time. He said, take that document away. I am addressing particularly for those persons who believe, right, are saying that the People's National Party and the JLP are one of a kind. No, it's totally wrong. No. When I'm presenting this evidence, I'm saying that, okay, all right, we have the access of Google search engine. Now, anyone can Google search. Just Google search to find how many People's National Party member of parliament found guilty for robbing the treasury of the education, the Ministry of Education. You will find zero. I want you to do the same Google search and search for how many members of parliament found guilty of robbing the education ministry from the JLP. Now, you don't have to do Google search because I have the facts that I'm going to present right now. So just listen to this. Put the next document up. Jamaica Focus. Let us hear this paper and listen. And documentary evidence to prove all of this. Listen to this.
No spin, no cover-ups, just the truth. This is Jamaica in Focus, bringing you the facts, exposing the lies, because Jamaica deserves answers.
Wagwan, Jamaica. Marcus here with another episode of Jamaica in Focus. Today, we're diving into an eye-opening article from the Jamaica Observer titled, Taking Corruption to Another Level. This article exposes a troubling history of corruption within the Jamaica Labour Party spanning decades. But here's the thing. The article stops at 1990. So we did what we always do. We went deeper. And what we found was a disturbing pattern that stretches from the 1950s straight to 2025. Let's rewind the tape. In 1951, Josie Malcolm, JLP, Minister of Education, sentenced to 12 months at hard labor for defrauding constituents. 1954, L.L. Simmons, convicted under the Official Secrets Act. 1965, Arthur Burt fled the island just before facing a commission investigating school construction corruption. 1990, Jag Smith, former labor minister, jailed for stealing $70,000 from farm workers' savings. Our review shows this wasn't isolated, it's systemic. Now, fast forward to the present. In 2018, Petro Jam. Millions vanished. Former Chairman Dr. Percival Bahado Singh was charged after submitting false claims. General Manager Floyd Grindley was also named in the audits over questionable contracts and spending. 2019, CMU. Nearly $50 million misused. Former Education Minister Ruel Reid, his wife and daughter, along with CMU President Fritz Pinnock, were all charged with fraud and corruption. What happened to those charges? 2020, NESOL. Former engineer Lawrence Pommels was convicted after millions were paid out with no contracts in place. 2023, Marissa Dalrymple Philibert, former House Speaker, charged for filing false statutory declarations. 2024, Leslie Campbell, ex-MP, found guilty for failing to comply with the Integrity Commission's disclosure request. 2023, the Integrity Commission flagged potential conflicts of interest involving the Prime Minister. No charges laid yet, but laws were clearly bypassed. Our review shows the Commission couldn't certify his declarations from 2019 to 2022, citing undeclared accounts and shady company links. They referred the case to the FID and TAJ, but instead of cooperating, the Prime Minister launched a judicial review. He tried to strike down Section 14, Subsection 5 of the Corruption Prevention Act, the very clause that deals with illicit enrichment. He argued it unfairly shifts the burden of proof to him, but the court said no. They refused to compel the commission to certify him, though they allowed him to challenge the findings. And now he's heading into another election, with his declaration still uncertified. Different faces, same party, same script. From Joe Malcolm to NESOL, from 1951 to now, the pattern is clear. Corruption thrives when leaders feel untouchable, and the people stay silent. So, Jamaica, what now? We've shown you the receipts across 7 decades. We've asked the hard questions. Where's the justice? Where's the accountability? They've tried to dodge the courts, the press, and sometimes even the truth. But the one thing they can't dodge is you. Every dollar stolen is a clinic not built, a child left behind, a road never repaired. Just look at Cornwall Regional Hospital. The government started renovations back in 2016 to fix toxic air and ventilation issues. It was supposed to cost $2 billion. Today, it's ballooned to over $21 billion, and the hospital still isn't fully reopened. That's nearly a decade of patients diverted, services delayed, lives affected. This isn't just mismanagement. It's a breakdown of trust. And the people are the ones who pay the price. If you're tired of this cycle, then let your vote speak louder than your silence. Vote them out the next general elections. Drop a comment below. Share this with someone who needs the truth, and follow at jamaica.in.focus.
All right. And let us still proceed in that vein, right? And this is one of the reasons why, right, the prolonged pilfering from the Jamaica Labour Party. Let's look on the next document and to see the prolonged bleed that we are having and why the electorate need to put the X beside the head. And so then here now, the Jamaica Labour Party having issues with the Auditor General. I don't know if the Auditor General they tell them to have sticky fingers, that them now have problem with the Auditor General. I want to know at what point in time that the Auditor General tell them to have sticky fingers. Auditor General proposed police probe into 124 million loss at Education Ministry. Here it is. Auditor General Pamela Monroe Ellis has suggested that Education Ministry favor Williams' call in the police or a designated anti-corruption body to investigate the loss of 124 million of government funds at the Joint Committee on Tertiary Education. At the same time, the Auditor General has recommended that the Finance Ministry institute right surcharge action against 2 senior officers, including the Acting Permanent Secretary, Dr. Grace McLean, on the basis that both officers failed in their fiduciary duty. The recommendations are contained in a report table on the Parliament today. And Brother Rattigan, you know that this situation, this big stumpy fat brother there, that is now in the Senate. One name Henry Morgan, great grandson, right? He has some form of responsibilities in this particular era too, you know. And we need to do some digging where this is concerned and where he is concerned. The Auditor General said the Senator technocrats failed to ensure that government funds were appropriated in keeping with the requisite law and established guidelines, and that arrangements were put in place to safeguard government resources, right? Monroe Ellis reported that McLean permitted the transfer of $11 million, people, to the Dr. Cecil Cornwall chaired JCTE after the body became a private entity. JCTE was the entity that shocked officials last year after it became private in February 2019, blocking the Auditor General's investigation into use of government funds connected to the Caribbean Maritime University scandal. And as I said, Brother Ratty, as it relates to Henry Morgan, great-grandson, right, was in this surroundings. We are going to do some digging where that is concerned, right? In July 2020, McLean told PAC members that she first became aware that the JCTE had become a private entity when the Auditor General requested information from the entity and the documents could not be provided. McLean said she wrote letters to no avail, asking for the documents to be submitted to the Auditor General. The Acting Permanent Secretary said after discovering that the JCTE had become a private entity, she curtailed the arrangement that was in place with the ministry. McLean said she wrote to the chairman on June 8, 2020, stating that the ministry could no longer continue the previous arrangement, now that it had changed its status to a private entity. Can you imagine, people? In the special audit report table in Parliament this afternoon, Monroe Ellis stated that the arguments of Cornwall, the Permanent Secretary, and McLean were unacceptable, and of course, damn right, it is unacceptable, right? She charged that Cornwall did not have the authority to privatize a government entity. Can you hear that? People know you're the slackness. Listen for the slackness. Open quote. The chairman private entity is separate and apart from the JCTE, Special Advisory Committee established by the Minister of Education. It should not be noted that the Acting Permanent Secretary permitted the transfer of $11 million to the JCTE after her failed attempt to obtain the accounting records from the chairman, despite knowing that the chairman claims that he is the owner of the company and refused to comply with the Auditor General request for information. Take it away. Let me say something. We have seen where Andrew Holness government, the kleptocratic government, have respectively placed preferential permanent secretary in areas, right, conveniently to carry out the Prime Minister's mandate of corruption, nepotism, cronyism, and sculdom. Yes. We have seen where Audrey Sewell from 2008, right, being dragged through various ministries, and all those ministries that Andrew Holness dragged Audrey Sewell through have been missing billions of dollars. Now Audrey Sewell had gotten her promotion, gotten the key to all permanent secretaries. She's now the cabinet secretary in charge of all permanent secretaries. Put there strategically by Andrew Holness to control all permanent secretaries. So when the pilfering, the nepotism, the cronyism going on, Audrey Sewell will just work along with it. The corruption, the nepotism of this government. And without any delay, let me use the opener to speak. Go ahead, Melting Pot.
Yeah, man. You know, because me can't believe, say, in our society, when you recruit a person like Pamela Monroe Ellis, and she uncover variance, corruption as it relates to 124 million, then a further 11 million, totaling 135 million. But then fair job come under scrutiny. How that for happen? That's not supposed to happen. Because she prove her worth, you know, so she do her job.
Exactly.
But this government what we have in place now, take offense to she, you know, submitting these reports. I have problem with that, and the entire Jamaican supposed to have problem with that.
But most.
Because that just show you say is a high level of corruption as it relates to theft. Now theft is a serious corruption, you know. Because that derail every farm of building project that's supposed to benefit the Jamaican population. The school, the hospital, the road, the water, you name it. Social life, you name it. Social intervention, you name it. Nothing can get done, you know. Police can't get paid. Teacher them can't get paid. Them have to leave our shores. Nurses can't get paid. You understand? And so we have to applaud the great work done by Pamela Monroe Ellis. And we have to bond the corruption where them are trying to unleash from Pamela Monroe Ellis. This nasty Jamaica kleptocratic government led by a dictator, Andrew Holness, who is a known criminal, international criminal. Andrew take all money from US, you know, for the LGTB community, you know, $1.5 million US, you know, and that never make mention. Andrew rob all the LGTB community. This is how this guy are dangerous. You can imagine after they mash up the little youth them and take with them innocence from them, and America give them this money to do whatever that is, you know, of circumstantial benefit to these people. Where them see a man destroy their life, you know. And you take away all of the money and share it amongst himself and the Iraqis. And then we see some unexplained money, so we want to ask him if some of the money we see banking at NCB during that period of time, if it come from the United States of America as a grant for the LGTB community. So everything where Andrew get involved in, it corrupt. It carry a stigma. It carry an unwanted smell throughout the society. This guy is very dangerous to our democracy. He has sold Jamaica down the gutter, even on the international stage. Nobody make reference of Jamaica in a positive light these days. When them speak about Jamaica, it's about the corruption, the murder, the lack of health. These are all Jamaica is recognized now in the international space. And it is as a result of Andrew Holness' administration, but more so down to the leadership of Andrew Holness. I mean, the international world see and hear a parliamentarian from the Labour Party in behavior upon stage in Westmoreland, you know. A piece of shit like Warmington, a whole slave backramasa. You understand? And here is a prime minister who has not yet made any form of discipline handed out to this piece of garbage. Because once again, I will remind Jamaica why Andrew Holness cannot take a stance. Andrew Holness, corruption gone right up to him neck. Corruption cover Andrew Holness. He can't do nothing. So we have a weak, pathetic man what we call prime minister, because him not prime minister material and him not surplus requirement. So we just have a manicure. You understand? That is what Andrew Holness is. A statue then. You understand? Him no good for the country. Too much corruption, man, under this government. The corruption has gone through the roof. And then when time people call out the corruption, him attack them. What can go so? Him have some little sperm wheel where I use the taxpayers' money I pay. Attack people who have Jamaica best interest at their heart. The people who are speaking up for Jamaica. Because remember, you know, if you're silent on corruption, it festers more in our society. And it becomes a prevalent tool for them guys to use. Because them have the power and them feel them untouchable. This is how Andrew Holness operate. Andrew cannot come to the table and make any reference as it relates to nothing good done in the country. Andrew come out, he might attack people, accuse people on his platform, but him say him come in peace. And the minute him make that reference, I trace him start trace people. Call them all type of name, all type of things. But this is the man where we are look upon, when Integrity Commission have him a court. And then him decides, so well then boy, we are going to take them a court too. So the two of them have them one under that court. So we are going to see who are going to win. Because I know Andrew can't win the IC, you know. Exactly. No, he cannot win the IC. The IC have too much for Andrew Holness.
Every kiss him
yeah, and I mean, everybody see it and know it. Because when you see how Andrew play all them chess game, them, you know, it's a result of putting people into strategic position to try and help him. But none of who in place that can help him. I do everything Strike 5 really want to help him right now.
Yeah, I think that's yes.
I don't think she really want to help him, you know. Strike 5 more want to find herself further from him. Because Strike 5 a threat. Because none of them cases where we identify cannot just go through under statute of limitation. And you throw them in a file 13. Remember, the Privy Council is there. I warn them. The Privy Council is there. And that's the final court where we as Jamaican can take our grounds to. So if them want, do them look hanky-panky on the local affairs. Marky G, we take it to the Privy Council. The Privy Council now ramp with them nastiness here, you know. Me nah ask, I tell Andrew and all of who him gather around him, say the Privy Council wants here on the time of the day. When them people are deal with case, them deal with case on a level never seen before in Jamaica. So for no little shenanigans we wanna have amongst yourself, it can't come across the water. Me a warning about that, so all who are plan to tie up some loose end for Andrew. We don't have our next guest coming named the Privy Council. Beware of the Privy Council. I'm glad Andrew keep it there right now. Him now want to relinquish that court for the one of the Caribbean. So I'm glad him still have the Privy Council as the final court of appeal. So when you stay there and go and feel like so well you can use statute of limitation when I use for the last decade. Where some people get with some money. You can imagine, man, a little ordinary youth in the ghetto, man. If not even touch nothing great. Just the mere fact them go up on a robbery and them catch him. Him there behind bars. Rural Reed, 50 million, walking free. Flavel, she's still at large. Yeah, Andrew Wallace, still at large. And many more still at large. Andrew Wheatle, still at large. We see people take a land for absolutely nothing, still at large. Because of the little fraud system what we have in Jamaica. So me, Marky G, know the reason why I'm telling us a time coming up. And Marky G know so now having a little weird plan behind the scene. But you remember one thing what Marky G said, after him said time come, him say, oh yes, because him know him a can't go Privy Council.
Oh yes.
Him know him a take it to Privy Council.
Oh,
the same
yes.
place going at time birthright too. London. And them a carry on go the whole garbage load on. Because you cannot rob so much money in the country and get away with it. Then what kind of justice system we would have in the world? When we have international justice system where we can use. We have all the aid to enough for Andrew, you know. And many more minions them around him. Yeah. We have the aid. Because remember, we commit a lot of human atrocity in Jamaica too, you know. And just money on the teeth, you know. International community are watching, you know, man. United States Embassy down there take note of no behavior. Remember, you know, no other country security no kill 100 citizens, you know. And we alone have 100 citizens upon watch. And we don't have a civil unrest in the country.
We're not at war.
So that spell disaster for Andrew Wallace and him regime. Don't think like the international community now have them eyes pound with all them high murder rate committed by the state. Well, we never see it yet in any other previous year, nor under any previous administration. This year, when the election time come, when this government have court case hanging over them head, when the leader for the party have face time in a prison, what him start to do? Manipulate the society by using all means of force. Because I want to intimidate the voters them. Because Andrew own priority right now is a third term, but it must be a prison term. Can't be no parliamentarian term. It has to be a prison term.
Yeah, I'm right.
Because you work for that prison term, Andrew. From your tech office, you've been thief in the country money. You've been running the country like he's a bandit.
He is a bandit.
You're worse than the baby duck and the papa duck them. You're worse than them. They had a problem. Jamaica never, you get a good country. A country in a solid position. The button was passed on to you from Mama P with the country in a good state of health. You mash up, you get the country cholera, all type of disease, because you mash up the whole of Jamaica, you know. All chicken pox, whooping cough, measles, mums, everything you bring back come true upon Jamaica. You understand? Wingworm, where we not see long time, all that you throw upon Jamaica. You're the garbage. You don't deserve to stand no turf. Because you're not supposed to be on the ballot to begin with. You and a lot of members in your cabinet face not supposed to be on the ballot paper. Una run as bandit right now. Una scam all the general election. Because una disqualified, you know. So I scam, una scam the thing. Because una disqualified already. Mama cow disqualified. Angie, you cannot be certified and still run as you're disqualified. Yeah. The whole of you disqualified, you know the name. I don't want to call you out tonight, you know. Because you know the name. I'm tired to call the name because you garbage. I don't really want to call you the name. Whole of you garbage, you know. We see all man out fly go to Mexico and come back with briefcase of money, you know. But him not do no transaction where we see. Him just secretly fly out and coming back with a briefcase of US. All them things that America have them on them watch. Canada have it on them watch. UK have it on them watch. UK will be here to save Jamaica. It's a saving grace. I'm glad you don't let it go yet. Yeah, I'm glad you still operate under the queen, under the king crown. Because the Privy Council will be the saving grace of Jamaica. Me, I tell anybody that tonight. Because Marky G will take all these bunch of criminals to the Privy Council. And I yield back the floor to another member.
No, sir. I mean, after me try me use bone sauce, me can't get him out. Me try to look for spinners and me still can't get him out. So me just move to things. Brother Ratty, you know it's there. As we say, we are standing with the lady tonight, you know. Things, take it out.
Yeah. Okay. What I have to say on this subject is this. Let's go back a little bit in history. When it comes to education, we remember and we all know that during slavery, Africans were not allowed to be educated. It was against the law then, and after we got emancipation, all that what we went through, our ancestors went through, until we got our independence, and we're moving forward as a nation. Now, when you look at how Michael Manley came about, and you look around and you saw that up to in his time, when he was prime minister, that up to grade 9, people were educated too. And then he looked around and said, okay, let me get myself another system in place. And it offered free education to Jamaicans. My family is one of the benefits of this free education because I remember my my grandmother, my mother's mother, she was the one of the 4 non-whites that went to a high school in Montego Bay here. This is before a common entrance came in place. So she was part of the experiments. And you see, she completed her high school education. And then my mother was able to benefit from the free education that Michael Manley gave up to university level. And to see that Seaga came back in 1986 and changed this is to prove that they don't want us to be educated.
Exactly.
They don't want us informed. They don't want educated voters. They don't want us informed. And come back now to when under Bruce Golding, Andrew Holness was Minister of Education. And under his leadership of the Ministry of Education, Andrew bought properties and started his company down in St. Lucia. And I would like everyone to remember that he did not take out any loans or mortgage when he bought this property and started building his house at Beverly Hills.
Exactly. Here you go.
And to see him now being made Prime Minister of Jamaica, and the Ministry of Education has been crushed,
Wow.
damaged, dragged,
Flatline.
raped. I don't know, because we look at CMU scandal, 28 bank accounts, apart from the money that they took, the children, the students who were paying their fees to the school were given 28 different bank accounts to pay their school fees in. Because remember, in today's day, most students pay their school fees to the bank accounts of the school, which is normally one or two accounts. But can you imagine all the students being given 28 different accounts to pay their fees into? And now you find that rural read included wife, daughter, helper, gardener, and his two friends. Not to mention Grace McLean,
Right.
124 plus another 11. And
Screaming.
still, these people are collecting. You know what? You know what's the most hurtful thing? Apart from the cases not being tried, and they're waiting for the time limit to run out on
Yes.
these cases. Apart from that, these people are collecting money every month from us
Yeah.
until the cases are settled. They are still on their suspension leave, and we are still paying them. I remember
What can go so?
Gensec put all tabulated everything that we are paying. All of these people who are supposed to be on trial, who have their cases before the court, is over 80 something million dollars, of taxpayer money is being paid out to these people who are before the court with these court cases that cannot be tried because of this horse-faced woman called Paula. And when you think about how much they're raping us and robbing us,
Exactly.
you understand me? And you think, why should we sit down and be quiet about it? They want us uninformed. They want us uneducated. And just vote them in for a third term? No. Prison term for every one of them. Royal Reed, I don't know what laws Marky G going to have to dig up and put all of them back in front of the court. We want all these cases tried. It is wickedness. 80 something million per year could fix every primary school in Jamaica. Roof, bathrooms, furniture. Think about it. $80 million paying out to these people for what? When you think of a school in Montego Bay, the PEP students last year had to go to a church hall to have their classes because the roof of their classroom collapsed in Montego Bay. And for months, they had to walk a little distance to a church hall and have their classes there. Even one of the things I saw Andrew Holness did, and I realized this man has no conscience. Do you remember this case where I think about 2 or 3 years ago, two little boys were shot in a vehicle, a taxi going home on South Spring Road?
Yes. Remember that.
And those two little boys were attending a primary school in Montego Bay. Did you know Horace Chan invited the Prime Minister down to go to the school to give some comfort, words of comfort to the staff and the students at the school? At the time the Prime Minister visited the school complained about a month before that the principal made a statement out in the public that the roof was leaking. So Horace Chang took the Prime Minister there when there was no rain falling that day. And remember, primary schools are only given $150,000 Jamaican per year for maintenance. So the school have to rely on donations and gifts from anybody to help the school to maintain the school. And the principal talk about it. The principals talk, the teachers complain about when rain fall, buckets, and how they have to push the children into different sections and use mop to wipe out the classrooms to keep the children dry, how the students' books are being damaged by water. 100, I'm going to say it again, primary schools in Jamaica, this very day, 2025, is given a budget of 150,000 Jamaicans for maintenance for the entire year. That means to buy a bulb for the classrooms, fix whatever, and to buy nails, to buy screws, to buy paint, to buy everything that needs to fix in a class. And you want to tell me this? And you always have 28 bank accounts, charity, and try to remember these people. Andrew Holness did not build any school in his constituency
Yeah.
for the 9 years.
Hold on this please. Because you are saying that Andrew Holness, as it relates to that primary school budget being 150,000. And when we look and assign that the Andrew Holness led corrupt government, you understand, corruption, giving build a sign, construct a little sign in Montego Bay for $12 million.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
The school. People need to look at these things, you understand? To give contract, you understand, through nepotism and cronyism, you understand, to build a sign that costs $12 million and to deal with the school budget, right? Primary school budget, $150,000 for the year. Want to tell me this government, right?
That make any sense to anybody?
To educate our children. No. So go ahead, please.
So when you think about, they're not concerned about the comfort of our students in the classroom. Can you think about how many primary schools right across the island and only be given 150,000 Jamaican dollars?
My God, man.
For maintenance for the entire year. And you have termites eating the furniture. You have things to repair. Every summer holiday, most schools go in and they do all the repair they can for September. Right? And right through the year, there are things to repair. And let's be fair. How can Grace McLean take out $124 million and just sit there and still she collects a salary every month and we are paying for that? And the students, no.
It's crazy.
We have to bring them to court. We have to bring them to justice.
Most.
The undecided voters, I'm speaking to you tonight. Can you really think you can vote in these people who want your child to sit in a classroom with rain falling down on their heads? Think about it. Think about it. I yield the floor to someone else.
Well, Brother Rattigan. Okay. Let us just show the evidence as it relates to what Springskew just said, because since before we begin, Brother Rattigan, because Brother Rattigan will be closing the curtain for us tonight. So let us just bring the evidence as to what Pinks just said, so that people can see that and to understand that the information that Pinks just spoke about is true. So there it is, people. It's here. So there it is, people. In Jamaica, all age schools, also including infant and primary schools, receive maintenance grants from the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. These grants are typically disbursed in tranches and include specified amounts for maintenance janitorial services and internet telephone expenses. Additionally, there is a per capita grant provided for each student. You must see. Okay, so let us just go down to the bottom of it. Here is more detailed breakdown. Maintenance grant. All age schools receive a maintenance grant, which is separate from the per capita operational grant. For example, in the 2021 to 2022 academic year, each school, on a list of people, this is what Springs is talking about. Each school received 150,000 for maintenance, according to the Ministry of Education bulletin. So Springs is right on point. Janitorial grants are separate grant, such as the 250,000 janitorial grant is also provided. Internet telephone grant and a grant such as 60,000 internet telephone grant is also provided, right? So I mean, if you just look at that,
Can't do anything with that.
can't really do anything really and truly, right?
So how much you paying the
It's just crazy. Per capita grant, in addition to the grants for specific purposes, per capita grant is allocated to each student in the past. This was around 2,500 per student, and it's paid directly from the central ministry, according to the Jamaica Gleaner, right? Other grants, there are also grants for nutritional support through PATH program and for critical repairs in selected institutions. What that can do in terms of $200,000 per year, right? Makes no sense. So Ratigan, over to you, right? You'll be closing for us tonight.
All right. Look, there is no government that is perfect. There's no government that you won't find some form of corruption. Even the poster child for integrity and honesty, yes, and transparency and all that, Singapore. I think it was just this year, I think, they sent one of their ministers to prison.
Yeah.
What you can do, though, is you can't eliminate corruption, but you can control corruption. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about controlling corruption. No, if you're going to thief money, no, not if, you will thief money in Jamaica as a minister. But don't thief it from the Ministry of Education. Take it from works or somewhere else, but not from the future of Jamaica. We extol the virtues of children being the future of the country. And we also say that an educated population is a country that's destined for success. And then you go and you take the bread from the children. To me, you deserve a worse fate than prison. Deserve something worse than prison. No, the Pamela Monroe Ellis, big her up. I mean, there's some things that she do where and I've had conversations with her colleagues and said, and them agree with me. The problem is that she's under a lot of pressure. I don't know if you know, Mystic, but she receives death threats on a regular basis. So they explained to me that, listen, you're right. Some of these things that she should be doing, she can't do them because so and so and so. Now, here's the thing about her. Pamela Manuelis has been occupying this position for a long time. She was there before this iteration of the Integrity Commission, which is a combination of 3 agencies. She was there before that, right?
Yes.
She's been doing reports all along. Mm-hmm. The problem is that the reports are now getting some spotlight from people like us. Before she would do a report, it would go in our file. Nobody hear anything. That's the end of that. No, we're looking at the reports and we're saying, wait a minute, something is going on here. So now big her up still. Big her up. And, you know, her family. Yeah? She deserves it. Family and a lot and things, yeah. But like I said, based on the law, there are some things that she should be doing, which she not do. I mean, understand why. I understand why she can't do them. Because of Jamaica. And you know, right now, based on what sources are telling me, she'll look over her shoulder. That's no way to live. She'll look over her shoulder because she get death threats all the time. Now, here's what happened with that case with Grace.
Grace McLean.
Okay.
Yeah, because what I went and I read the report. I read it from first page to last page, and what happened was they had an advisory body to the minister, this tertiary commission. So it was an advisory body. The person who I think was chairing it went to come to the company's people, the people who you can register a company, and registered it as a private company, which wasn't supposed to happen. Exactly. And so money, they funnel the money instead of going the money going to the advisory body, it went to a private company with the same name, by the way, same name. And there was a gentleman there who was a permanent secretary by the name of Dean Roy Bernard. Dean Roy Bernard is responsible for disbursing over 100 million to this privatized advisory body. The Auditor General, they spoke to Grace McLean and they said to her, don't give them people no more money. Despite the warning and despite everything that she knew that was good, because she was there, you know. She was there when I give her the money, you know. Them all a party for Dean Roy, you know. The same people, you know, a big party for him, you know.
Yes.
And money start flow to them. And them tell her don't do it. And she did it. And what happened? Dean Roy, they moved Dean Roy to where? Ministry of Finance. Now, Ministry of Finance is the only ministry that does not have a permanent secretary. They have the position of the financial secretary. And them send Dean Roy over there, his title is permanent secretary, and them send him over there as director general. And what did Dean Roy do? Dean Roy so and said, me a permanent secretary, and you send me over here, so now me have to work alongside the financial secretary. This not right. And he make him argument. And guess what? Dean Roy win. Them said, we have to find a permanent secretary position for him. We can't give him the director general position. And you know where Dean Roy is today? Dean Roy is over at the Ministry of Culture and Entertainment and Gender with Babsy Grange. That ministry is the only ministry in the cabinet with 2 permanent secretaries. Not 1, 2. And when me ask them about gender items, them tell me, oh, we have to wait 30 days. Then them come back, oh, we have to give another 30 days. And them have 2 permanent secretaries who can tell me if them have a focal point over there, if them have a budget, and if them disaggregate the information. Them 3 things I'm ask for. And up to now, them still can't tell me with a small agency with 2 permanent secretaries.
But Ratty, why are we paying 2 permanent secretaries?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. But him over there. And here is what happened. Not showing you the corruption. No. There is an action called a surcharge action. And that action takes place when a public official give away money, spend money when them shouldn't spend and all that, and then the government has the right to go after them to get back that money. Pamela Monroe Ellis, when she did her findings, she made a recommendation, and she made a recommendation to Ministry of Finance, the financial secretary, and said, we need to take a look at this and get back on the money, whatever. Them sit down there, the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Education, the 2 of them sit down there and make the statute of limitations run out. So when them bring the action now against Grace McLean, she get the lawyer. He used to go with her work with me. When him Champagny, she get Champagny. He never go with me. Him come after my time. But you get Champagny. And all Champagny had to do was raise the statute of limitations because you had 3 years. I think it's 3 years. It's 3 years from the date of the event, which is another fool's law. It should be 3 years from the date of the event or 3 days from the day you find out. They make it 3 days from the date of the event. So that time the past gone a long time. When you go court, him say, Judge, this action cannot withstand my argument that it violates the statute of limitation, in the sense that the statute of limitations pass, it expire. And the judge say, you're right, Mr. Champagny. You're right. Grace McLean have to pay back a cent. You know who also have to pay back a cent? Dean Roy Bernard. But here what happened? They can't bring criminal action. That was a civil action, you know. That was an administrative action to get back the money. But them can actually bring criminal action against them. And guess what? Up to now, them don't bring no criminal action against them. And the statute of limitations is going to run out. And that money is gone. Gone. And guess what happened? That money is part of the 3 trillion unaccounted fund. So when somebody tell you, say, no, the money is not gone and it's...
Ratty, hold on. Ratty, I want to ask something as it relates to, right, certain things that done as it relates to this particular crime. Because what, you know, we are looking on fraud.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we are looking on fraud, how does statute of limitation covers that? This is fraud.
Yeah, it's fraud. It's fraud. But it's not like corruption, because corruption, you don't have a statute of limitations. You can bring it anytime. But for fraud, there is a statute of limitations. I believe it's 5 years in Jamaica. I believe it's 5. I have to go back and check. But it's going to run out this year. This year it's going to run out. And do you know what? I don't know how many of you know about this, but there is, to show you them people are staying up, there's a lady by the name of Marcia Phillips Dawkins, and she was the executive director of the National Education Trust. And the Integrity Commission just finished with she in March of this year. And you know, with all we're going over there, it's like business as usual. Because this woman, she forged the signature of the procurement officer for hire a consultant. And them catch her. And you think something like this wouldn't happen because, okay, you know, enough spotlight over there upon the Ministry of Education, but it's a free for all over there, so is a feeding tree over there, so.
My God.
So we have this lady, you know, Dawkins. I don't know if I don't believe that them they lose any money, but them what happened is that the lady, the procurement officer, stood her ground and said, hey, me supposed to sign this, you know. My signature. Me never signed this. I'm not signing it. And then went back and forth with emails. And she had said to the man, oh, you're going, so why you're going and where? And the woman said, no, me are going. Rules are rules, and you can't do this. I am supposed to sign the thing. And you get no authorization from me.
Yeah.
So this woman, you know, them get rid of she, because them not renew our contract. So them pay her up to, I think our contract ended February of this year. And them get rid of she. But Dean Roy Bernard no pay back no money. Grace McLean get pay back no money.
Right. Well, Ratty, since you touched about that, let me show you something on the statute of limitation where this is concerned. Because we have a case which you and I, you understand, we have to highlight it where this can go to the People's National Party. So them not get away yet enough, Ratty. Them not get away yet enough. Not with you and I in this situation here, right? In Jamaica, the statute of limitations for fraud, particularly in cases of breach of contract or actions in tort, is generally 6 years. This means legal action must be commenced within 6 years from the date the cause of action occurred. However, there are exceptions, such as actions to recover trust property, where the limitation period may be unlimited. Take this away on it. So, Ratty, this is what I'm saying. Now, they are going to be out of power, right? Within the next 2 months. And so then the People's National Party have an extension of 1 more year to bring criminal charges against these people. So they are not out. You understand? Don't believe that you are in the green light, right, where that is concerned. Because we are here in the space and we are going to pursue you. We just want to tell you that.
Go back and look. Go back and look and see when this occurred, because I think the 6th year is this year. I think it's this year.
Was it 2022?
Let us bring up back that.
Yeah.
But you're talking about the amendment.
No, I'm talking about the 120 or whatever. Yeah. What date it happened?
2021.
2021.
All right.
So we have our.
No. Hold on a second. No. Go back and go pull up the article. I think it happened before October 2021.
Isn't this the article?
But even so, Ratty, we still have time. If it happened 2020, we still have time.
When it happened, yeah. If you see when it happened.
But this appears to happen 2021, Ratty. Well,
no, see there. See there.
JCTE was the entity that shot officials last year after
2019
became private in February 2019.
2025.
Blocking the Auditor General investigation into the use of government funds connected to Caribbean Maritime University scandal. So 2019.
2019 it happened. So this year or the last year.
But Ratty, I'm Sir B.
Yeah.
I want just add something to this, you know. All of these cases have not gone to court, you know. No trial has been conducted on these cases, you know.
True.
So how you gonna apply statute of limitation when you never even take the case to court?
No, here's
in the case
why.
I really read him not face court yet, you know.
Well, theme case different, but this case here, right? Because Royal Reed theme case of corruption. This case, what we are saying is bring a fraud action to recover the funds. And what happened is that the year start from the date the criminal act occurred, which is 2019.
All right.
So on this year, with Royal Reed, him in a court, but here's a problem with Royal Reed now. There is a legal theory called abuse of process. When you can't use the statute of limitations, you say, hey, the abuse of process is, that's what they use in Westcon, the one with the prime minister.
The corruption act with
people at the ministry and the corruption prosecutor said that she said, I have the evidence I can prosecute them. But then she make for them argument and said, but they're going to mount a defense based on abuse of process. I mean, I said, no, man, you don't make no
she shouldn't say that
argument. You don't make for them, make them
report.
Yeah. So I say something now. Them still I use the Westminster model under the crown. Yeah. I know that cases in England don't die till them solve it, you know. No matter how long you're out there, I run up and down and them can't find it. When them find you know, all in front of the justice system. And justice them pursue. No, we can't have the Governor General representing the king. We still use the crown, in our justice system. But yet still, we recommend a period of time for cases like this. No, then we not use the Westminster model then. Because the Westminster model have no limitation to it. Absolutely no limitation. So there is some fraud going on in our justice system. But I'm saying to Mark Walden and the People's National Party, take all of these bunch of criminals to London Privy Council. Especially Strike 5, because she don't want to face them again, you know. Every time she go there, she lose. She don't want to go back there, you know.
That's why I know she kind of wiggle her way out of the corruption. Because Strike 5 not can go to Privy Council. It can go to the Privy Council. All what them are doing at Jamaica. It not have to stop at Jamaica justice system. Because this look like it bigger than Jamaican justice system. We have a final court of appeal, which is the Privy Council. So the PNP can take it there. For a fact, I know that. So all them a play around and I do them little chess game and I shuffle domino and I play draft and load it. Cause game them playing at Jamaica with the people them and the money, you know. This government a play a game, Dally House.
Yeah.
They must be all accountable.
Yeah.
And I know Privy Council is the place for it.
Melting Pot.
Yes, my brother.
Ratty, I want to show you something on this. Because let us look on accrual of cause of action. It is saying here, Ratty, the 6-year period typically starts running from the date the cause of action actually occurred, as it relates to what you just said. But this can be impacted by the concealment of the fraud. So there are some exceptions here, Ratty.
Yeah, the argument to the more make though, the argument to the more make is that the concealment, there was no concealment from the time them find out, from the time the Auditor General and everybody else find out, there's no concealment. They must say, okay, if you hid it, and then them find out later on, and then you know you bump up against the statute, then it might be a problem. But in this case, what they must say is that from 2019, they knew about it. They knew about it. But in an event, like somebody just point out that it's the 6th year is for a civil action. It's to get back the money. Them say criminally you can't go after them. Criminally, but here's the thing now. When me want back the money. We want back the money for come back to the children of Jamaica. That's what me want the money for come back for. Because to me, here's what happened. You're gonna have a trial, and me not cast no aspersions upon the judiciary in Jamaica, but truth be told, if them never send Dalrymple go to prison, and them never send Leslie Campbell go to prison, I don't think them ever send them people go to prison. Because those two cases are clear cases. Dalrymple pled guilty. Leslie Campbell was found guilty. And them slapped them on the wrist. Even though Dalrymple faced 2 years in prison, and Leslie Campbell, I believe, faced, I think, a year or 6 months in prison. And if them did really serious about doing something about corruption, they should have made an example.
All right. But Ratty, under PNP government, this is what I want to show you. Right? I could go back for the overview here, so Ratty. In Jamaica, the statute of limitations for fraud, particularly in cases of breach of contract or actions in tort, is generally 6 years. This means legal action must be commenced within 6 years from the date the cause of action occurred. However, there are exceptions, such as actions to recover trust property, where the limitation period, Ratty, may be unlimited.
But we're not talking about there's no trust property involved though. You have to look on the rest of the exceptions. The thing is this, that this action should have been brought a long time ago. We should not have this conversation now, whether or not it should have been brought, whether or not the time expire or whatever. They mess up the first one, the surcharge action, they mess that up. They mess it up.
So Ratty,
Yeah.
who is in fault? Who is in fault? Why all these never bring to the table and trash out? The DPP?
The DPP, the Ministry of Finance, and the Ministry of Education.
You take all of them go to Privy Council. Simple as that.
Because
we used to fraud in the system. We used to corruption like broad daylight in front of our eye. Because none of them people are not get tried. Them just use the mechanism where them put in place. So it's plain and obvious that this is a corruption scheme. You can't allow Privy Council don't make corruption get way. Them unsolved corruption. And who orchestrate the corruption, them bear the brunt of the penalty. So Strike 5 the finance minister, and whoever. Yeah, and them criminal.
But
Once
here's
you
the
take
thing.
them at Privy Council, the whole
But
of them gone.
but here's the thing. You if I know you are taking my privy council, you know, necessarily. Them I'll take you because here's what happened. If them go to Supreme Court and they're found not guilty, you can't charge them again.
Exactly.
You can't charge them again. A double jeopardy. You can't charge them again. So what?
So did they go to the Supreme Court, Ratty?
No.
Okay.
So what would happen? But here's how you get to the Supreme. Here's how you get to the Privy Council now. You have to find them guilty, and then them appeal to the appeal.
Yes.
Of appeal, and then the appeal court side with them. And just like with Bibe's case, then no, them have to go to the Privy Council.
Yeah, but in my defense right now, I said none of them cases are going to go through the judicial system. Them going to make mention. No date, no set for them.
Yeah, but
so we just end up at a stalemate and not go on, but we know how the criminal them this way I look at. But we just use tax limitation when it comes to national fund, taxpayers' money. Come on, man. Something have to be done with them garbage, man.
All right. You
have to done to them.
You might think melting pot. You might think Ratty. When you look at this though, isn't that the DPP, you understand, would carry some burden as it relates to the blame in terms of not solving this case? And let me say why. The DPP would have been aware of the statute of limitation. Remember that we have seen the DPP in a seminar saying to us all that a prudent DPP is going to work in collaboration with the investigators to ensure, you understand, that the case is put together properly and put into the judiciary, you understand, so it can be prosecuted, right? And remember that the DPP, Paula Lumley, stated that in order to get anything done, right, it is prudency for the DPP to work with the investigators, right, to put the case. So the DPP would have been cognizant of the statute of limitation, should have worked in tandem with the investigators, right, to ensure that they are not breaching, you understand, the statute of limitation. What do you say about that, Ratty?
Look, you have high hopes for the DPP because remember now, you know, Westcon, in my estimation,
yeah,
the Prime Minister should have been prosecuted for that
Westcon
investigation. To me, there was enough evidence there, and them go interview him twice and make him clean up the first interview, which it should have never happened. They make him come back the second round and kind of nice it up and clean it up. And what happened? The DPP, she could have stepped in, you know, she's the ultimate prosecutor. She could have stepped in and said, no, this is a miscarriage of justice. I'm going to prosecute this matter. She could have done that. Yeah. You know what she also could have done too? When the 4 bank account, the Scotia bank account of the Prime Minister never tell the Integrity Commission about and them fine, including the one where a member of him constituency depend it with him, and him, when they ask him, say, no, name depend it. And the evidence was clear that him violate, him never report. And what she do? She just said no. The corruption prosecutor. The DPP could have stepped in at that time. Yeah. And then guess what? The commission, the Integrity Commission, they were useless in that instance because they could have said, okay, corruption prosecutor, this is your opinion. But guess what? Under the law, we can request an opinion from the DPP, and we keep on a set on my program. So them need to put the DPP on the spot. Make the DPP say, me nah do nothing about it. But them just leave it alone. Them just leave it alone. So answering your question is all we have to do is just look to the record of this DPP.
What is the Ratty? Someone want to ask your question. Sorry to break a Ratty. Carla, go ahead. Ask Ratty the question.
Mr. Rattigan, good night. Good night, everybody. Mr. Rattigan.
Good night.
Mr. Rattigan, good night.
Good night. Good night.
Mr. Rattigan, question. What would not make these people be charged for the money that is stolen and it is known that they have done it. What would have prevented them from being found guilty, Mr. Rattigan? And also what you're saying with the DPP, I was thinking the exact thing, that so many cases have gone through to this woman's hand that she turned a blind eye to it. And she could have stepped in many of those cases to bring these people to justice, but she just let them go. That woman could never be for the Jamaican people, and yet she's sitting there collecting so much money. That woman, she's gonna pay. She's gonna pay for all of this. She's evil. Mr. Rattigan answered that question. I'm hungry. Sorry for that, but I'm hungry. She could have done better. She could have done better.
All right.
Okay, please answer that one.
Yeah. The question that the caller asked is could they have, essentially, was there enough evidence to prosecute the case? And from what I read from the Auditor General's report, we're talking about the Grace McLean, Dean Roy Bernard, that scenario. Based on what I read, there was overwhelming evidence. There was overwhelming evidence there that they could have brought this case. They could have brought the case for the surcharge, and they could have brought the case for fraud. It's there. If you go back and you read that report, Pamela Monroe Ellis did her job. It was there. She get into details. She started about the connection between Dean Roy and the person who was in charge of the tertiary commission, how close they were, that them to a party theme, and after the party, then money start flow, and they knew what they were doing. They knew the man private, and guess what? The man so faced it that when Pamela Monroe Ellis went to him and said, "We need to see your record, sir," the man said, "Get away from here. This is a private company. This doesn't fall within your jurisdiction. So you can't ask me for anything." And this is one of the things where I said Pamela Monroe didn't do her job properly, because under the law, if you get money from the government of Jamaica and the Auditor General comes to you and says, "I would like to see where the government money went," you are obliged to give her that information. And if you don't, she has the same power as the commissioners in the Integrity Commission, where she can go to a court ex parte and say, "Hey, I need an order from you compelling this person to give me the information." She did not do that.
So Ratty, let me ask you a question. Based on everything that being done as it relates to the statute of limitation that applied in that particular case, do you believe that the DPP, right, obviously anticipate for the statute of limitation to be triggered?
Yeah, of course. She would be, it would be, I can't say, oh, she wouldn't know about this. Keep in mind, this is the same DPP, remember when they had the Rio Cobra spill, who prosecuted that case? It was NEPA. And NEPA was in contact with the DPP office. And what happened? NEPA struck a deal with the people, and some fool deal. And then the DPP has said, "Oh, I didn't get information," and blah, blah, blah. And then when them appeal it, the judge said, "Hey, watch out, the deal done already, so there's not more we can do. There's not more we can do." So they basically get let off scot-free with a minor penalty when it should be more than that. And the DPP was aware, her office was aware of that case, and them never take it over. And remember, under the Constitution, what can the DPP do? The DPP can start a case, the DPP can terminate a case, and the DPP can take over a case, except cases in the military. She can't do military cases because they have their own tribunal. But civil criminal, she can't do that. And she not do. And this is a constitutional mandate. This is not some law where somebody passed. This is a constitutional mandate. It said the DPP is the only prosecutor in Jamaica who can start a case, terminate a case, take over a case. So when NEPA take the case and I run with it and I run, fool with it, she could have just stepped in and said, "All right, you know what, give me the file. I'm taking over this case." She could have, with the corruption prosecutor, she could have come in and said, "I'm taking over this case." And she not do none of them. None of them.
So basically, Ratty, it look like it is clear evidence, right, that we are looking on here that the DPP is more of a political operative than a DPP. And let me put in something else in that in terms of why I am saying that. When you look on the firearm, the loss of firearm as it relates to 2 of the Jamaica Labour Party Member of Parliament and 2 of the People's National Party Member of Parliament, and where the DPP made their decision in terms of charging the 2 People's National Party Member of Parliament for losing their firearm, and the Jamaica Labour Party Members of Parliament who had lost even more firearms, right, was not, they were not being charged by the DPP. So based on the evidence that we are looking on, Ratty, it appears as if what we are seeing here, the DPP, right, is highly biased, and it would seem that the DPP seems to be a political operative as opposed to being a DPP. Would you say that?
Look, the evidence is staring us in the face, because remember now, right, that she asked for an extension.
Yes.
Extension was rejected by the Services Commission, and
Yes.
the Services Commission also told her that the Prime Minister was not in support of it.
Yes.
A few months later, what happened? The Prime Minister said, "No, I'm going to grant her this extension. We're going to change the constitution." Meanwhile, them have the Constitutional Reform Committee a meeting or talk about amending the Constitution. Them bypass them. Them go to them with a wanna. Them just go straight ahead because them have the numbers in the Parliament, and them just run roughshod over the opposition, and them just pass it and say, "Okay, fine, she's here now. What not gonna do? Nothing I can do about it." And look, we're all humans. And I find it difficult to believe that them do this for her. She wanted to stay now, and they do this for her. And so she just said, "Thank you very much." And then she said, "But that's it. I'm going to remain independent, or I'm going to become independent," because some people would say she was never independent. You know, it's you know what I say. Wink, wink, and a nod, right? Yeah.
Ratigan. Who can arrest and charge the DPP in Jamaica? Who have that power?
Them have just like last night when them say a private citizen can arrest anybody, but it's unlike anybody going to arrest the DPP. Now, if the DPP commits like murder, they can arrest her. If she commit or he commit rape or something like that, they can. But the normal scheme of things, like this, like failing to do your duty.
Yes,
right?
That me I talk about.
Yeah.
After being paid by taxpayers, and you don't carry out the duty where you're supposed to carry out. Yeah. We see where you're biased, because we see where you use circumstantial evidence and you send with Ninja Man. Yeah. We see where you make sure no Vibes Cartel go do him time. But these are some little people coming up from the ghetto.
Right.
But the big men them around her, where she have our fanfare and she go out the same ballroom and them turn it around and push it back in. We don't see she do nothing with them people there. So who look over the DPP and keep her in check?
Here's you can only remove the DPP for like a mental condition or some vague language. I think it's a misbehavior.
No, Ratty, me not talk about move her, Me I talk about she come with no session do breaches of our role. Yeah. She commit crime as far as me concerned.
The thing about it is,
who can arrest this DPP?
And if put it this way, if it's a crime, because it may not be a crime for dereliction of duty, it may not be a crime, it may be an administrative action. But if it's a crime, anybody can arrest her. The question is, who is going to arrest her?
Me.
Nobody can do it. Nobody knows. No, the best thing we can offer is that somebody will take action to remove her. And them not gonna move her, because for remove her, we have to do. The Prime Minister have to go to the Governor General and say, impanel a tribunal and have them conduct an investigation and give you a recommendation as to whether or not she should be removed. That's how you remove her.
All right, but let's bring in David Spinks.
One question though. She has a history of being complicit.
Yes.
How can we charge her for that?
Yeah, that comes back to it's related to dereliction of duties, and I don't think anybody in Jamaica want to charge her for that. I don't, even if it's a crime. I'm not sure if it's a crime, but I know it's an administrative action. But let's say it's a crime. Let's say it's a crime. Who are going to arrest her? Who?
What Vatican?
We
If
are both for people on arrest her right now.
Vatican, look at it this way. Look at it from this point of view. I'm not a legal mind, but look at it from the if somebody if Melting Pot commit a murder and then tell me about it after he committed the murder and I help him cover up the murder, wouldn't
Accessory.
that make me whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, it's accessory to the crime.
Accessory after the fact.
Accessory.
And most of the things that he has committed is accessory after the fact. She's being complicit.
Yeah,
That's a crime.
here's the thing. What we're saying
A
now,
serial crime.
yeah, what we are saying is that look, we believe that her decision, they seem biased and they seem unfair and just and what will happen with something like that is that generally speaking, them don't want to get involved with, and it's just not just Jamaica, even here, unless they can prove corruption. If you can prove that somebody talked to her and said, we want your rule this way in this case, that's different. But if you're on the outside looking at it and say, well, you know, how could she rule like that? She have to be an absolute dummy because the evidence was there. What I must say is that, look, we can't subject a prosecutor to that kind of scrutiny. So unless you have evidence that she was actually instructed or she colluded with somebody to deal with to render an unjust decision, whether to prosecute or not to prosecute. Unless you have that kind of evidence, them not gonna.
All right, let me ask it another way then. What about the case like, for example, in Irwin in Montego Bay here, where the young people were raped, young women were raped, right? And the two brothers were initially charged, and the two brothers gave in voluntarily their DNA along with their lawyer. And before the case even reached the court, she knew that they were innocent. What about cases like that? And she
Well,
sat down there, and when the case got to court, and the men were in the boys were in prison or in jail, and they were battered and bruised, and I think one got his eye damaged, and so forth, so forth. What about cases like that where she sat down there and know the person is actually innocent, and the guilty person, was out on the road, and the guilty person used his time and raped almost 23 people before they caught him.
Right.
So the two innocent persons were in jail, and she knew from the DNA that they were innocent.
Here's the thing: who prosecuted that case from her office? Was it the DPP or somebody, some lower level prosecutor?
It was a highlight, and it was a very popular case. It was in the news, and she was the one running that case. I remember, because that was the reason I turned my mind against that woman.
All right, let me give an example. Let me give an example of even when she should be disciplined, people just because here's something that I found out, that in Jamaica, lawyers don't sue lawyers, and it's a collegial type thing, and it's a small community, everybody and them just do this and them do that. You remember with the Vibes Cartel case, right? When she was sitting in the judge's chamber after they found out that one of the jurors tried to bribe the other 11, right? And the judge started talking to the fourth person who made a tape of the juror try to bribe other people. And you remember what happened? The judge asked, how should we proceed with the case? And she said, no, just read them, just let them, tell them, that them have to consider the evidence and whatnot and that. No, what happened is that the reason why she did that was because they had gotten rid of one juror, right? So they were down to 11. And if they have to get rid of another one, in Jamaica, you have to have at least 11 for render a verdict. Otherwise, they have to start over if they have to do that. But remember, right after that, what she did? After that, she was interviewed by Cliff Hughes. No, she was interviewed by Nationwide. And what did she say? When them asked her about the tainted jury, she said, Hey, we do this, you know, and this is not the first time we do this. We do it all the time. And you know what happened?
I know,
Me,
I remember.
me file an action with with them name the disciplinary committee. Me and a brethren from England file the action. I will put in all of the evidence. We put in the videotape, we put in the Vibes Cartel case, we put in everything. And then you know them come back and say, when name Championny, because I him in charge of the other disciplinary committee now, you know. Come back and say, boy, I nothing could make out on the case. So there's no action will be taken. And she also give up Jeremy. She said, she said, I know me alone work with tainted jury. Jeremy work with them too. And she give up Jeremy.
Yeah.
One more little question, Sir Ratty. One more little question. In the case of Dan Query, yeah, where 2 cases was brought in front of her, and none of them go through. Yeah, Dan Query walk scot-free. But we see her later up in business place. How that look?
It's not a good look. Look, the argument wanna make is a sound argument. It's just that I don't know who would I want to take it up and do it, because here's something. Look at her conviction rate for the time where she did it. No, you see the Southern District of New York, they have a conviction rate of about 97%, you know. 97% of the times when them say we are going to court with you, you know, yeah, get convicted. Look on the DPP. If you are one, I think as like something like in the 40s or it's low. Very,
no,
in fact,
man, 42 high, man.
Too high.
Maybe
Right.
maybe 2 out of 10 times.
Yeah,
About 20%.
I think you're right. Because they may say if Jamaica is one of the places where you can commit crime, commit murder, and get away with it easy. Because between the police, what them are going to do with the docket and the evidence and mess it up and things like that, and the DPP not working with the investigators from go, and are coming when mistakes make years ago, them say, you go get where. Just look on, not tell the people, them say, please, just go look on our conviction rate. And you see why this woman should have never been in that position for as long as she's been there. So I agree with them that something look like something that go on with some politician or what for key party, because she should have never remained there.
All right. Well, on Ratty, I have a caller who want to speak to you, Ratty. You want to ask you another question?
Mr.
Yes, go ahead, my dear.
Yeah, watch the other thing, but he's still attacking, man. He's ready?
Yeah, he's ready.
Mr. Rattigan.
Yes, ma'am.
No. Mr. Rattigan.
Yes.
We have just talked a while ago and realized, and we know it, that Paula Lewin could have done much more. She could have stepped in with others backing down, because she is the DPP and bring forward a case that is not looked at. Okay, the word dereliction, I hope I pronounce it properly. Dereliction of duty. It means failure to perform one's duty. Of course, that is what Paula Lewin, I believe, should be charged for, because she has not performed her duty to the optimum, right? So that word stands against her. She has not performed her duty 100% that she should have done. We've seen it clearly over and over again, and I rest my case, sir.
Okay.
Very solid question coming from that lady.
What happened now? Thing about it is somebody put in the chat. Is the General Legal Counsel. That is where you'd have to bring the action against her, and that action is a disciplinary action. And here is something that I found out. The General Legal Counsel is the body that disciplines attorneys. However, because Paula Llewellyn is a government employee.
Oh, yes.
They would not discipline her. Them don't have to discipline her because they deal with private employees. I'm say, what kind of foolishness this? If you're attorney, and if you're a governing body, you just deal with the profession. But I'm saying, no. because she's a government employee. She doesn't fall squarely within their jurisdiction, so them can't really punish her. They have to go wait for after she give up her government job, and if she start practice privately, then them go after her. Foolishness. Foolishness.
One more point. One more point I want to put out here. You know what I find very sarcastic about and ironic about this whole situation and hypocritical about this whole situation. They want teachers to have certain qualifications and certain performance level. They want other people, other professions to have certain performance level, and get to have a DPP that has no performance record.
Hold on there.
Does that make any sense?
Ratty.
That's a good question. That's a very good question. Because and it go back to Melting Pot's question as to who exercises supervision over the DPP.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's not I can tell you, it's if you look at it constitutionally, it's not the Prime Minister, it's not the Minister of Justice, it's not the Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs. It's none of them. She basically operates in a vacuum by herself. And only constitutionally, unless she commits a crime that they can say, all right, we're gonna bring something against her. The only other option you have is to have her removed or have her disciplined.
Ratty, hold on it. Before you even go any further, let us look at this and break down this, because there are some areas here that is suggesting where the DPP can be charged. Now, in Jamaica, a director of public prosecution found derelict in their duty could face a range of consequences, potentially including disciplinary action, removal from office, or even criminal charges, depending on the severity and nature of the dereliction. The specific penalties would depend on the circumstances and the applicable laws and regulations, including the Constitution of Jamaica. Now, here's more detailed breakdown. Disciplinary action. The DPP is a public officer and their conduct is subject to disciplinary regulations. The dereliction of duty could trigger disciplinary proceedings, potentially leading to suspension or dismissal from office. Now, removal from office. Let us look at that, Ratty. The Constitution of Jamaica outlines procedures for removing a DPP from the office, which may involve a tribunal or as a formal process. If the dereliction is serious enough, it could be grounds for removal, even if it does reach the level of criminal conduct in a Ratty. Number 3, look at that. Criminal charges. In case where the DPP's action involves criminal activity, such as corruption or obstruction of justice, they would face criminal charges. The specific charges would depend on the nature of the crime and the relevance of the legislation. Number 4, other consequences, lack of public trust. A DPP found derelict in their duty could suffer significant damage to their reputation and the public trust in the office of the DPP. Let us go to impact on ongoing cases. Dereliction and duty could affect ongoing criminal cases, potentially leading to acquittal or dismissal if the DPP action compromise the integrity of the prosecution in such case like Vibes Cartel. Now, civil liability. In some cases, individuals armed by the DPP actions might pursue civil lawsuit for damages. Right? Look on key consideration. Severity of the dereliction. A minor oversight would likely result in less severe consequence than a deliberate act of misconduct. Now, as it relates to Paula Llewellyn, admitting where situation as it relates to tampered jewelry, right?
Tainted jewelry, yeah.
Sorry, tainted jewelry, right? Where she came out rightly and spoke that. That is serious.
But you see what happened? But you see what happened? Yeah, but all of them things that we talk about, all of them we talk about. I remember when I said to you, say you can remove her, you can discipline her, you can charge her, but you have to have the evidence where somebody can say, yeah, she said this, I overheard her, I have the tape or whatever. The thing about the DPP is the disciplinary one, the one with the tainted jury. Remember, I filed the action, you know. I filed the action. 2 hours file the action, and them just throw it out.
So let me ask a question, Ratty. When the PNP come in power, can you refile that action to the PNP administration?
Yeah.
No,
no, here's the thing. No. Because she'll leave September, guess what? The GLC now have jurisdiction over her. So if she plan for going to private practice, them can say, take with the license. No, here's what me that hope for. Me that hope say, when me file this thing, them would have suspend her. They would have take her license. Because you say, here what happened now? You can't have a DPP who don't have a license. So me that plan to get rid of her. So if the GLC did say, okay, Mr. Rattigan, we'll find that you have substantiated your claim and we're going to suspend her for 6 months. Guess what? We need a new DPP. You can't have a DPP when you have a license to practice law. And them realize that. And them just said, no. Them just said, no. We're not about that. We're not. Them just say, you know, no case.
Barati, remember said that when she leave the office, they will have a lady there named Miss Campbell, you know. But she and Paula get salary every month, same way.
Me file about that, man. Me file about that.
So they would do the same thing. If you even give her suspension for 6 months, them not let her go. Because she are them tool.
Well,
Paula them tool, you know.
Yeah, but here's what happened. Sources tell me that even after she step away, she never step away.
She never.
She pull the strings in the office. That's what I was told. That she pull the strings same way. But that was my plan. My plan was, hey, make them suspend her, because them suspend her, then she can't be there. She have to leave. So guess what would happen? No, they would have to get another DPP. In fact, she couldn't even go near the office. But you know what happened? More than one way to skin a cat. She'll leave in September, can bring the action, and have somebody look at it again, and somebody might say, hey, you know what? Yeah, this is exactly what look into. And if them suspend her, no, she can't practice law because you need a license. And them take with the license. That's it. She done.
Yeah, but Ratty in a parallel.
What in a minute, Pat? Let me hear what Pat is saying. Sister Pat, go ahead. Sorry about that, melting pot.
Yeah, man.
Good night.
Big up Sister Pat. Big up CMU.
All right. Good night, Ratty. Good night, everybody. Good night, Sister Pinks. Big up on yourself.
Good night, girl.
Class, I am learning. Listen to me now. And the part with this DBP, can the PMP government change the legislation or the constitution when they come in, Mr. Ratty?
Yeah, but they have to have the numbers. Some things in the constitution.
Because this government was planning to change the constitution. And these are the things that they should have put into it. That no one is above the law. Because as far as they are listening, I am here listening keenly. If Parliament does something and try a case where don't try good and unfair to people, we must have a law where we should hold her accountable for not doing her job. And she's supposed to get the full length of the law like anybody else. So these are the things that we want to be changed. When you say we change the constitution, because this is very wrong. Because look at the people in Bagua, where you put them out of their livelihood, and this big of a place where I make millions of dollars a day, put it suffer them outside of their livelihood, and now let all of them in collude and just throw away case. That's unfair. Am I wrong?
You're right, Sister.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, Sister P. It's just like the one with NEPA.
These are the things that we've been listening to when you hear what about the state. You take the note. I know it's got to be rough on you, but these are the things where we say we have to change the constitution. Parliament, we must have to find something on the book to discipline Paula Lewin, make an example out of Paula Lewin. Them trim eggs in a king. And the little girl did not do anything. That's bad. But in a COVID, those things can't just go away. So somebody need to hold accountable, man. It's unfair for the hungry people like me and others who have commit sometimes a little misdemeanor. I end up in behind bars and get recorded. So
Yeah,
these
what
are the things we need to be changed.
what you
Okay.
see? Yeah.
Me shift a little bit because I go back to class. Did you not hear Mr. Warmington on the stage?
Oh, yes.
All those things and nobody hold him accountable. Jamaica people, this is to show you that country always have no bars, no spines. Right? He cannot say nothing to none of them, man. Did you ladies hear Christopher Tufton and BCSR say the reason why the 34 baby dead is because of the mother them like they say they nah eat good and they nah this and they nah that?
Crazy.
And those foolishness. Eh?
It's crazy, man.
Come on, Jamaica people. We need to wake up. Check the amount of dead babies. Yes, babies do go dead. All people are dead because once you ban, you go dead. But not like how them are dead. This government have a plan. He use the police force and kill out the young youth them. Then they use the hospital and kill out the one them when this man from home to tomb. Something is wrong. Something is definitely wrong and no accountability for it. So Jamaica, don't wait until it reach your door. Let us come together as a nation and take back the country.
Definitely.
And Mr. Mark Golden, we are giving 110% support. We are expecting better from you. No matter who, we will get rid of the other. Push up the head, and it seems like if you put him in a corner, investigate him, fling him out. We know in our foolishness, we have suffered too long. No, if you go in the jail right now, I can tell us enough young man down there, we should be out. They are down there and suffer because of some little misdemeanor and some little foolishness. Right? This government don't believe in rehabilitate persons. And the next thing, I was watching Make We Talk last night and see something when they put up with Rattigan, Wade Lonesome, and Make We Talk Jeffrey. Make I tell you something, Mr. Rattigan. I am putting this thing to you, Sir Ratty Samuel, Wilfred Samuel Rattigan. May I put this to you? Those persons you need to make example of them because they send death threats. And we want you to stay there and show them who is Rattigan. You know, name of nobody yard. So you want you to make example of them and sit down right there and cheer this up. And make Bangor run. And when Bangor run, boy, have to spend enough money and we use it and put it in our charity because we're not hungry.
All right.
So we don't want it.
Right.
Put it in our charity. So big up yourself.
Blessings, Sister Pat.
You know,
Big up, Sister Pat.
You know, one of the biggest, I don't know if it's corruption or not, but in effect, it's going to be corruption. And it happened in front of we, it happened in front of we. And that is to have people under investigation for illicit enrichment, and them are going to stand for election and people are going to vote for them. The Integrity Commission, them have to do something about this. Them have to come out and say, see the reporter, Parliament. You know, on the table, it don't do what they want with it, but see the reporter. You can't allow for have them people go make them go run. And no, man. That's a problem. And look how long they might investigate them. But you know, one of the things with them do, you know them do? Here what them do. And it's in the Hansard proceedings, you know, where them say, oh, we are going to do this and we are going to do that. Them not do it. You see, these investigative agencies, it is in the politicians' best interest to starve them of needed resources so that them can't do them job. Because
Yeah, we know.
long them a plan for establish the Integrity Commission, and they never do it till 2017, and it became an agency in effect 2018. And say up to right now, them not fully staffed. So right now they must struggle. They must struggle. And look what them do over FID. And the same thing over FID. Same thing them do. Them don't provide the resources for these investigative bodies to do their job. They don't. And that's one of the reasons why we have 6, 7, 8, whatever the number is, over in an integrity commission. And every time them put out a report, people say, yes, I hate this now. Till right now, people don't bother pay it no more. People don't pay it no more, man. The last 3 with them do our councillors. And people say, what happened to the MPs? Because at them, we are going to vote for them. We want to know who these people are. And no.
Ratty, in terms of my strategy, though, if he said I am the person who is going to strategize as it relates to the Integrity Commission investigator, right? I would definitely, in terms of knowing to the fact that I had submitted previous case as it relates to the Prime Minister, and where I am facing a firewall where you're going to have a DPP, right, who is going to rule against it, right, in the favor of the so-called defendant. I would not, honestly, Ratty, I would not, like the members of parliament, right, I would prefer to do it under People's National Party administration.
Exactly.
But what they could do to, like when it's close to election, bring it out the last so that people will know. Because they can't do anything about it again. Bring it out so that people will know.
Okay,
that
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
That is what they should do. And then they can't do anything else again.
I agree with that.
Already out there and people know and then vote how them need to.
And that's the point I was going to make with Lady, and just make that, might not be a bad thing to release it, though, because if the allegations are terrible, it might turn off the voters. It might turn off the voters from them, and people say, well, we're not going to vote for them people, especially if them pronounce them a thief from them in them constituency. People might say no to that.
What I'm saying is this now. So because Parliament is closing, the closing of Parliament, and the other point is this: it would be good for us to know information of the members of Parliament if they are illicit or not. However, my question is this now: since we're not going to know the names of these people before election, after they are elected, if they are elected and they are returned to Parliament, what actions can we take against them?
If they're elected and the Integrity Commission comes out with a report saying that there is illicit enrichment, them can charge them. And get rid of them.
And worse, it will be worse for them under PNP administration.
Yes, and
remember, Ratty, sorry, things. Remember, that's why it is important that to have the People's National Party in power, we have to make sure we put them in, giving them the 2/3 majority.
2/3, yeah.
But as I have said before, if we don't know all these names before election day, all of them are suspects. Just treat all of them as suspects.
Exactly.
They're all suspects. Katie and I called them all suspects long time ago. The other issues is, remember when the DPP came back after her break, Delroy Chuck came out and said how her office has mold in it, and they move her up into the OPM. She's up there too,
Yes.
So she's under that carpet. She's under that carpet too.
All of that is just Andrew Warner's playing chess.
We know that.
So-called chess in a play, man.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of the program tonight. It was a solid program, right? This is where we ended and drawing down the curtain, right? I want to say big thanks to all persons who have come out and supported us. Right? Big thanks to the powerful panel, as usual. Right? Brother Ratigan, of course, Pinks, right? Melting Pot, right? On a Tuesday, right? Powerful. And we love that, right? So we are saying, well, good, and let me give Wifey the button to close.
Okay, guys, again, thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate each and every one. You chose to be with us, and we do not take that for granted. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you to all who have been with us from the beginning, those who join us in the middle of the journey, and those who are just joining us. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Mystic Sensation family and the extended family of panelists. Really appreciate each and every one. Guys, also support the other platforms that are out there, because everybody's preaching the same message but might do it in a different way, right? So we are all in this together, fighting for a brighter and better future for each and every one of us and the generations to come, right? So thank you again all for tuning in. And remember to tune in with Mr. Ratigan tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Yeah, so Mr. Ratigan will also be on tomorrow and also on Saturday. So make sure you all tune in. And again, have a blessed and wonderful rest of the week until we see you again on Friday. Safe travel on the gravel or safe travel wherever you are.
All right.
All right. Good night.
All right.
Yes.